The things that we say.
Okay, we're live now. Hold on, let me make sure.
Hi, everyone.
Oh boy.
Okay, let's see. Let's go to the page. All right, it should show up now. I hate the new layout where you gotta go into the back control room. And then it shows that you're live. Okay, there we go. All right. Hey everybody. Let me make sure it's everything. Hey, what's up, taters? How you guys doing? Sorry we're late. But the gangs are here. Rafiq's is going to be about 5 minutes late, but he's coming because I know y'all looking forward to their red room. And then Grimace, I got some sad news, but I already told my my taters this last week. Grimace will not be here. He is skiing this weekend. So, you know, F in the chat for Grimace not being here. So I guess we'll just be having, I think, a somewhat non-confrontational discussion.
I wouldn't count on it. I really wouldn't count on it.
Let's get my anger out.
The thing
Yeah,
about
we're
it
still
is,
a bunch of
the thing
we're
about
still
it
a
is,
bunch of assholes. Tree.
yeah, that's true. That's so true. The thing about it is that Twitch, a lot, you rarely have anybody from Twitch who want to get off on that platform and then come on YouTube and talk because they are very afraid of being in a place where they are not protected by the TOS. You know what I'm saying? Say what you want about YouTube, but the YouTube TOS is nothing like the TOS over there on Twitch. So they're able to stay there because they are protected. They can call you Nazis, white supremacists, and all this other stuff, but you can't call them certain names, you know what I'm saying? Or you're going to get deplatformed, or the person's platform you're going to be on, they're going to bounce you off. So, you know, it's one of those things where you got to admire, and I want you all to know that anybody from Twitch that comes on our panel, my panel on YouTube, knowing that we don't really have a strict guidelines on what you can say and how you can talk to others, that you got to give them some credit. These people are very brave and they're very honorable. I mean, thing about it is that when Grimace come over here, he's like outnumbered. I admire that. That takes like heart. You know what I'm saying? To just sit up here, even though he got TDS on steroids, you know what I'm saying? I still find it funny.
He enjoys it though.
Yeah, he does. He
A
does.
little pain's a little pleasure, right?
I mean, it depends on the people because there's a lot of people on Twitch can't handle the pain. They just can't handle it. You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
he's one of those people that likes to eat really hot sauce. Like he doesn't care that it burns. He enjoys the feeling.
That's a
We
good
call that
analogy.
masochism, Caddy.
That's a good analogy.
It's like that photo with the girl on the couch and the 5 guys behind her.
Yeah.
No, it's
Ugh.
not like that.
That girl
He
on the
fights
couch?
back, though. He
What
fights
her
because
name is.
y'all know he does
Oh,
fight
he
back.
fights. He fights like crazy.
He fights back, so he's not a doormat. I mean, y'all can't sit up here and misrepresent
No,
him like that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Tries
No,
his
no.
hardest.
So that's that. All right, so let's go ahead and get some introductions before we get into our discussion. For those of you who are new, my name is Tree. I host these debate panels once a month. Basically consisting of right-wingers, libertarians, progressives, and liberals. Now, so far we only had one progressive that was able to come on the panel. That was Joe. So, like,
Sure.
that's rare that we would have any other type of progressive come on this panel. So it's one of those rare things. But if y'all know one that's got thick skin, which is rare, let them know. We would love to have them come on. So without further ado, I do this once a month, but it's only for 3 hours. So we start at 8 and we should end at 9, 10, 11. Okay. So it's only 3 hours. So it's not one of these debates that you see on Twitch where we're here for like 5 to 6 hours. I don't do those type of things. Okay. So let's get started with Falix. Falix, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hi, I'm Falix. Right now, I am locked in my house because somebody has caught the unknown virus of unspecified origin in my family, and because of that, I can't leave. So I'm in this burning hot house with bad lighting and even worse internet, but it's always a blast to be here, and thank you for having me.
All right. Next we have Trip. Trip, go ahead.
What's up, everybody? So my name's Trip. I like to talk shit on the internet. You can follow me at Trip Sucks if you want, but I'm really here because this is how I get frustrations out. I am a center-left liberal. but I'm not woke. There you go.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And next we have Archer.
Hi, Ben, it's Archer. Some call me the Pussy Slayer. Others just call me Archer.
Do they? Do they?
I'm a
Only when he talks in third person do people call him a pussy slayer.
Thank you.
Twitch's resident Rhino, part of the Rhino party. If you're thinking about coming over to the Rhino side, please join our ranks. We'd love to have you. Yeah, like fucking around, talking about politics, doing shit. So yeah, let's start some shit tonight. Love these guys. Love you, Tree. Love the audience.
Too, yeah. All right, and Cats, you're next.
Oh, I am Arcatscape. It's a question that will never be answered, but please be the millionth person to ask me, are they? I'm somewhat of a unicorn. I'm a conservative homosexual who lives in California. I'm not miserable at all about that fact. I have a YouTube channel that gets used occasionally. I'm on Twitter and Minds, but mostly I do a podcast with my heterosexual life mate, Jupiter.
Ooh.
All right. And of course, we have the big bad bear Jew, also known as BJ. Go ahead.
What's up, everyone? So, ideologically, probably more on the right-wing side, although I guess I've taken the moderate stances in the past. I'm not exactly sure. If you want to find me on social media, don't post on YouTube that much anymore, but hopefully that'll change soon. Same name, Big Bad Bear Jew, also on Instagram. Currently, but Alex is with someone coronavirus. I'm on like day 11, so I think it's gone. Young and healthy, didn't have any symptoms, still can't smell, but never really could smell in the first place, so it's not a big deal.
You tested positive for the coronavirus?
Yeah, like 9-10 days ago or something, but
You
didn't really have any
symptoms?
symptoms.
Were you taking vitamin D?
Being alive is
All the
overrated.
vitamins. All the vitamins. I was
Yeah.
taking.
No,
That's
specific.
all
No. The
People are
question is
saying
vitamin D3.
Vitamin D3. People are saying if you take that,
80% of people don't feel any symptoms anyway, so I'm not special.
I get my
Special.
vitamin D from a very unique source, but I think it's more effective.
He's talking about
Son.
semen.
I need a therapy
He's talking about
session.
Semen.
Son, fish.
Jizz.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
I want
I
to
just
go
got
to
it.
church
I
so
was waiting.
badly.
All right, last but not least, Jupiter. Jupiter, go ahead.
Talent on loan from some really lesser god that is overweight. I know what all of you are thinking. Hi, I'm Jupiter. Very far right. I know what you're all thinking right now. Wow, he got fucking fat.
You've
Yes.
been fat.
But fuck you, Alex, by the way.
Now we noticed. Yeah.
By the way. But got a little fatter. It's for a part in a movie that I'll be playing soon, and that's why I look this way. And I just would like to say hi, guys. How are you? Good to see you. I do a podcast with R Cat's Gay. Big fan.
You're purposely
He's gonna be an
gaining
extra in a
weight.
movie called January 6th.
He's playing the life. He's playing the life story of Ron Jeremy.
I think that's Rafik. You're purposely getting fat for a movie role.
Dick, and kosherness all included. Ron Jeremy,
Dick
baby. I'm young Ron Jeremy in the new biopic. It's called Long Dong Silver 2. And
You
yes,
remembered to add the pounds, but you forgot to add the inches.
I said young Ron Jeremy, circa 65. About 3 at the time.
All right, Rafik just came in just in time too.
Prepubescent. Hi, Rafik. We're talking about my penis.
It's a good time.
Hold on.
Don't worry, it was a short conversation.
Rafik, you're muted in you're muted in whereby. I mean, you're muted in Discord. Sorry, you're muted in Discord.
Wait, Tree, can I say one last thing?
Yes.
I was at Nemacolin this past weekend, and I stole all the crystal glasses from the bar, so I took them to my hotel room and put them in my suitcase.
Ooh!
And I just want to show one of these off. That's real, baby. Yeah, daddy's
Is that
home.
blood?
Oh my
Is
god,
that-
I'm
Megan
gonna call the
Stallion.
police.
Look, I am. Oh, and by the way, that's a lie to the federales watching.
Fake news.
All right. Okay. Let's see.
Okay, so
There you go. We hear you.
Jordan Peterson. thing.
You're roboting.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, he
Come on,
froze.
Peter, son.
He froze.
You think in the age of the coronavirus that internet service providers would
Well,
have really
it's
stepped up their game,
snowing
but
over
no.
there. They got a lot of snow over there in New York. So
Oh God, yes.
You know, satellite
Yes.
internet has
There you
been
go,
going up the
Rafiq.
roof recently for like rural areas. Satellite internet.
It's
Yeah.
Like in
slow as fuck,
cost?
though.
It's no, yeah, Jordan Peterson. I thought about cleaning your penis in Rome, something like that.
Oh, yeah, watch
this Jordan Peter. Oh, that was a joke. Cause I mean, I was gonna
Watch
ask
the royal
Trip. I was
penis.
like, Trip, you didn't tell me he talks about the penis too. So,
I
I
haven't
missed
heard
that
him.
lecture.
I haven't heard him talk about it. It's like a meme.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
was a
Prefer the
meme.
term schmeckle. Schmeckle.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So
Shekels?
let's talk about our
Yes.
first topic here.
Schmeckles.
As you all know, Joe Biden has signed over. I don't even know the correct number at this moment, but I do know it's over 43 executive orders.
1,000.
Yeah, and you do.
43,000
You
is
know the
executive
reason
orders.
why he's signing all these executive orders is because of John Manchin. People,
Joe Manchin, yep.
yeah, I say John, didn't I? I meant Joe Manchin. And people don't realize that the Senate is not left leaning, and it's right now it's 50-50, but Joe votes majority for Republican and conservative policies, and so because of that, Joe Biden is basically now he's actually acting like the fascist that people have accused Trump of being. He's bypassing the House and the Senate and just basically ruling from the throne. If Trump did any of this, if Trump was to sign half of the executive orders that Biden has signed, they would have been calling him all kinds of dictator, Hitler, this, that, and the other. So we see the
We did already.
hypocrisy that's going on here. Now he's cost so many jobs thanks to canceling the pipeline. Also, he cost a lot. I'm about to say he's about at least cost millions of jobs because of him, they are he has influenced California, and those of you who are in California can speak on this when it's your turn, to raise the minimum wage, and that has caused Kroger to cut jobs and close down stores. It has caused some restaurants to close down stores because of that, and to cut down on their employees. So he has cost jobs. And he's broken so many campaigns. I got a list of the campaigns that he promises that he's broken. But the biggest thing that pisses me off about fascist, racist Joe Biden, whose mentor was the leader of the KKK, Robert Byrd. What I want to really say is that right now we are going through economic hard times, and what's happening in Texas is just madness. And this fool wants to bring in immigrants that have been waiting in Mexico. He was like, okay, they don't have to wait in Mexico anymore. We want to go ahead and bring them across the Texas border and bring them in here to be processed. So now it's like this man is slowly destroying our country, and he's putting America last. Now, the good news about this is that we will definitely take the House. All right. And that states like mine have now made it that you can't you can't vote for no fucking absentee ballot anymore if you don't actively apply for one. So that shit that happened last year in November is not going to happen in Georgia anymore. Now, I hope the other states like Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona does do the same thing. We'll see. But the question is, after everything he has done, and it's only February, what do you think this? How do you think this will end? And let's start off with
him being put in a home.
Yes, by the vice president. She'll make sure that happens.
Well, Rafiq, I'm gonna let since you came late, you didn't get a chance to do your introduction. I'm gonna let you go ahead and start off the 2-minute opening and remark on this topic before we go into freeform.
Oh, sure. Sorry, everybody, I was late.
No, it's okay. No big deal.
Cool. My name is on Instagram and Twitter, rjennings333. That's my handle. This on Joe Biden. Well, from what I understand, the left was having buyer's remorse before the inauguration because there was some video with him and I think some civil rights activists, and he was like, just take it or leave it of what he said. And there's probably more to come because there was that thing with the loan cancellation that Joe Biden refused to do, this $50,000 student loan cancellation refused to do. So they're mad about that. And then they're also mad about him just accusing him of showing favoritism towards the Hispanic or brown immigrants over the Black Caribbean immigrants because they're being shipped back to the Caribbean, but the Hispanic immigrants are actually trying to be brought into Mexico, into Texas. So I mean, there's just going to be more buyer's remorse that will just come time and time. Just wait for it. I mean, it's going to be bad for our country, but I just expected it. I mean, I'm not going to talk about, well, as far as the election, I mean, I'll just say that both parties, sort of, went with the election of Joe Biden, and we're just going to have to deal with the consequences of that. And for us, the American people, to try to prepare for, economic downturn. And if, the American people aren't paranoid, then they'll also, get out and vote out these lockdown governors like mine, psychopathic governor who writes a book on how well he did handle the pandemic with, the nursing home shit, So hopefully, I think there's a 50 chance of that happening. But this is like with the whole thing, it's just like I'm just going to just see more complaining from the left. But then, come around election season, they're going to vote for more leftist politicians. It's a sadomasochist relationship between political tribes. So we'll just see more. And there's a Twitter account called Biden. I think Biden supporters taking the L's or something.
Yeah,
Biden
Biden
voters
supporters.
posting
I
their own
love that site.
Yeah, we'll just keep it there for history.
Yeah. True fact, there was a liberal created a account called Biden supporters uploading their W's, and to this day they have yet to upload anything. They was trying to counteract against that Twitter account that says Biden supporters uploading their L's. You know what I'm saying? So they were like really mad that site because when that site got started, I followed that site when it joined. And I love every morning. That's what the first thing I log on to make myself feel good about what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So you guys should really check it. It's called Biden supporters uploading their L's. It's great.
Posting their L's.
Posting their L's.
It's
Thank
on
you.
Twitter.
Yeah,
and it's on Twitter too.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I'll just quote an African news journal saying that this was not an election; it was a selection, and people have to deal.
Oh well, all right.
Well, Rafiq, we all know it was fair and free, and there was no, YouTube. By the way, we all think that the election was totally legit.
Seemed very legit.
Very legit.
All
So,
right.
Jones is in here, boys.
All right, Archer, your turn. Go ahead, 2 minutes.
I mean, democratic policies are usually shit for the middle class or working class. So, it's like I was upset at the election because the policies that Joe. Whoa. Is that? Are we good? We're good. I heard an echo.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, these policies, like living here in California, we get the extreme of these democratic policies. Democrats not knowing what's fucking supply and demand is, and how housing crises are affected by when you have an oversaturation of supply in this scenario, people in this whole total area. But with Joe, I mean, I don't think America is completely fucked. I don't take that. I guess I would probably be a nihilistic point of view about Biden. I think some of his policies are retarded, and I mean that in the slow sense. He's getting a little old, and he's getting a little slow. Hey, that's okay. That's what you do when you age. But your policies shouldn't be fucking. I'm not gonna go for the double whammy, but yeah. I don't think America's fucked. I think we've taken a step back a couple steps back in the wrong direction since Trump. But this is how democracy works, and we'll let the libs lose for a couple years, get some good memes going this next 4 years, and we'll struggle through the job loss. We'll struggle through the wealth and capital leaving the United States for a couple years, and then hopefully in 3-4 years, we get a Republican office.
All right. Okay. Trip, your turn.
So here's my problem with what's happening. I've heard you call Biden a fascist, and I think there are reasons to suspect so. And the one that jumps out to me the most is the buddying up to China, because that's a Nazi country. I've been there. I've seen how it works. They're ethno-supremacists with the state with their claws into private business. So that's what Nazis are. And he's butting up to them, not calling out their concentration camps, like real ones, not like border detention facilities.
Years.
Or his overflow facilities, like he likes to call them now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worries me for human rights. If we're really supposed to be the ones who are stopping bad things from happening in the world, which we historically have not done for quite some time, he's not really showing much promise on that front. That's kind of where I stand on that. As far as the executive orders, there's some that are very vague and look like pandering to wokeness, some that look like he's doing exactly what Trump did, and some that look like they're just trying to get back at Trump. So, for example, stop construction on the border wall. That looks like trying to get some little revenge, piss off some right-wingers. Things like there's some transgender legislation, executive orders that are vague because they have to do with identity, and it doesn't tell you what that means. It doesn't say these are the identities that are, acceptable to be used in these situations. It doesn't say anything about that. So the vagueness, the spite, I don't like it, and I think we're going down a bad road. But I think generally we are going to be mostly okay. A little struggle here and there. The Republican Party may be finished, but time will tell.
Okay. Felix.
Before Hillary Clinton sends the FBI to kill me, I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, every time he signs one of these orders, that's another day that Kamala will come into office sooner after she pops his head like it's a zit. I mean, I'm still thinking it's going to happen before next November, but hey, we will see. But I mean, people who know that they aren't legitimate or frauds will not do stuff that opens them up to criticism. And in criticism in this case is a bill being rejected by the House or the Senate. Like, if he was any bit as confident in his party as he is, he would put something in there and they'd try and get it passed. But no, he knows that nothing's going to get passed in the Senate, at least. In the House, they might get something. But as soon as they get to the Senate, they're capital F-U-C-K fucked. So he's just going to keep doing like this. And eventually, once someone mysteriously pulls out his life support to charge their phone to make more TikToks in the coronavirus hospitals, and Kamala steps in, then they'll try and actually pass stuff in the House and Senate.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Did you finish?
Oh, no, I was done.
Okay. All right. Next, Cats.
So, what will Joe Biden and his executive orders accomplish? I don't think we're going to see anything overtly radical, because it doesn't need to. We were already going down a pretty subversively radical path with what Obama was doing as far as the craziness happening in the universities and the slow, complete disillusion of American industry and our ability to make anything. Can I help you? Anyway, so yeah, I think that basically the universities, what little progress we had in making them not insane is just going to go away, and they're going to continue to be deeper and deeper insane. as they were before. I think any hope of America manufacturing its own insulin and its own antibiotic, or really anything other than what do we manufacture in America again? Some
Fake meat.
high-end. Yeah, we manufacture some extremely high-end furniture for rich people and like health food, some of it. Like so, in general, I think we're just going to see every good thing that Trump did slowly fade away, while all the bad shit that was already happening just fade back. So a return to normalcy, if you will, which is to say that nothing overtly terrible, just a bunch of subtle FUs and a bunch of really nebulous and bad things that will kind of make everyone generally miserable, poor, except for the hyper corporate elite, and nothing controversial. We're not going to see any major diplomatic triumphs. We're certainly not going to see anything like the Abraham Accords. We're certainly not going to see anything interesting happening with North Korea. So I think it's just going to be a tepid and generally convoluted and ineffective presidency. Of course, I'm saying this while Joe Biden is presumably alive, being kept alive by Disney Imagineers, the same while on loan from It's a Small World after. Once that ride eventually fails and Kamala takes over, who knows?
All right. Next we have BJ. BJ, your turn.
Yeah, so I don't think that Joe Biden cares about helping Americans. And you can make the same argument about Trump and say he has a huge ego and he only cared about boosting his own ego, but at least his policies helped Americans. Joe Biden is more concerned about virtue signaling than helping Americans. So we've already said a couple of examples, right? The trans in high school that has no popular support in the whole entire country. Halted construction of the Keystone Pipeline because of climate change. Bringing in what's not 11 million, probably 25 million illegal aliens to make them citizens. And to ensure they have a permanent democratic base might be another reason for that. Stoking racial tensions with every policy, everything he talks about is always about equity, not equality. You don't know the difference between the two of them. So he has all these policies meant to virtue signal and not actually help the middle class. I mean, you could look at something like eliminating college debt, which will only help the upper middle class, if it's going to help anybody. But his policies aren't going to be a step forward. But I think that my conspiracy theory here is that all these executive actions for a reason. So that reason would be that in 2022, Republicans can't go, hey, look what you did to Congress. They can't do that because all the shit's happening that's going to happen before 2022 is to be done by Joe Biden. Right? And it's not going to come back and hurt Joe Biden in 2024 because at that point, Kamala Harris will be in his position. So they're doing all these things that are radically unpopular that you cannot do a campaign against later on. You can't say, look what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden's not going to run in 2024. It's going to be Kamala Harris. And it's not going to be Congress passing these. So I think it's very strategic what he's doing. He's putting forward these policies in a way that's not going to end up hurting Congress. At the end of his presidency, I think we're going to have hyperinflation, severe racial tensions. And I think probably by 2024, you'll have China overtaking the U.S. economically, which is the scariest thing, I think.
All right. And last but not least, Jupiter.
I would like to disagree with my best friend there, Katz. No, the U.S. still manufactures something. We have by far the greatest anti-white propaganda in the movies and the commercials by far. I mean, as Stone Toss says, burgers. But you know, these executive orders. Katz and I did an episode called Biden's Remorse. Very clever. You know, I'm smart, big brain.
I get it.
But it's almost like I'm playing a part in a play to say Biden's remorse. Stop it. He's not there. Kamala Harris is now taking the calls for foreign leaders and diplomats. He doesn't know what's happening. They give him his Jell-O. They put a little blankie on him. They put him in front of the fireplace. And he's asking, where's Barack? Is Barack here? I want to see the president. It's not
He's
him.
asking where Truman is.
Right, but what really, with these executive orders, you know, every time Trump did an executive order, this dictator's governing by executive fiat. This isn't a mandate. He's a fascist, blah, blah, blah. We've never seen anything like what Biden, his handlers, the global interests have done in this short amount of time, but it's really the voters that get me. The voters, you know, when you talk about like the price, so Trump had this thing regulating insulin prices, all right? And Biden did away with it. And the Biden voters said, well, it hadn't even gone into effect yet. It's like everything Biden does, they have an excuse for. It doesn't matter if it's fucking insulin prices. But I guarantee you this, and mark my words. Number one, Biden doesn't make it to the midterms, guaranteed. Kamala will be put in there. She couldn't win one fucking primary. She got like 8% of the vote total. They have now put in place their chosen candidate, and things are going to get really bad.
Okay.
So my two predictions, and I'll take real quick, $100 bets with everyone in the chat and everyone talking to me, $200 bets. Gas will see at least $5 by 2022, and Biden will not make it as president till 2022.
I wouldn't take that
In
gas
what
one.
particular
Gas is
place?
Let's go.
gas
I'll take the gas one.
gas would definitely get up to
Because gas is like
$5. But I don't-
$3 already.
I see
By the end of
Biden making it.
2022, gas will see 5 clams.
If he's in 2024, it's a different story. 2 years, a year and a half.
24.
Let's go. Oh no. Go ahead, Jupiter. $100.
I mean,
I
gas
don't-
in California is probably like $6
I don't
already.
Yeah, what
see-
state are we talking about here?
I
think it's
don't.
like
Yeah, that's
4
true.
right
That's a good
now.
point.
It's pretty
Yeah,
bad,
because you
though.
guys are higher than
You know
Georgia.
what, to be fair, I'm talking national. I'll give you the national. It's already $3 in fucking Pittsburgh. And I just want to wait real quick. Can I show the chat what I showed you guys earlier, Tree, real quick?
Oh no.
Biden did away with Biden made sure that transgender people are allowed to play in women's sports. This is a 52-year-old female. Trans women are women, and this is her playing against college females who are also women.
Yeah, I think we've seen that.
This
This
is
is
what
all
Biden
of. Yeah,
She's a foot taller than all the other
Thank you,
players.
Biden.
but
it's
I'm
about
gonna say
equality.
this, and
about
people have heard me.
equality.
People have heard, and we're in the freeform round, by the way. People have heard me say this before. I am going to be a little trolly on this because the feminists set this shit up. So let them suffer. Let
Well,
their
that's accurate.
daughters
Yeah, it's
suffer.
equality. It's about
Okay.
equality.
Yeah.
They want
Yeah.
Fair feminists don't have daughters.
Yeah, they don't have daughters. It's empowering not to have children.
Watching 50.
Well, I'm sorry. These bitches are. You know what? These bitches are reproducing, and you know what?
They
Who's
are.
fucking
This
them?
is the-
Their
the-
goddamn conservative
Conservative.
friends.
Tree.
That's true.
Every time this 52-year-old transgender woman tomahawk 360 dunk on 18-year-old college girls and picks their scholarships, a conservative family is born.
This is true. This is true because
No, that's just Biden ducking all the conservatives.
when Biden signed that
Yeah.
executive order, I didn't get mad. You know what I'm saying? Because I got my basketball scholarships, all 5 of them. I didn't take any of them because they were all up north. But we didn't have to play against biological men. All right. And I actually enjoyed my sports without it being invaded by people with the XY chromosomes. So I'm glad I got mine. They're not getting theirs because they have to blame the women on the left, because nobody on the right, no women or nobody on the right push for this. So in a way, let them have what they want. Just like the whole defund police thing. You don't want no police? Good, get them out of there. Get them out of there. We got too much crime.
Someone's in the chat
Oh,
before,
yeah,
yeah,
like the moderate left is so
The one
afraid of
on
the
the
far
Biden.
left that they're not going to be like yelling at the LGBTQ rights activists. So there's plenty of women out there who are Democrats who are, oh, that's really fucked up what they're doing over here. But they're not going to say anything because the whole
But they
entire world now,
pussies.
social media everywhere is oriented towards the far left, Twitter, the media everywhere. So you have all these Democrats who aren't going to say anything. Does that mean they're going to turn to the conservative side? Probably not, because it's still propagandized. But they're going to just accept it and move on with it. And so
You're
all those
exactly
companies,
Right.
That's
Well,
the
it's
problem.
Exactly right.
You're
I think one
100%
thing we
right, because
might-
I've been in these conversations with a room full of lefties, and they all pretty much feel the same. It's rare that you find someone who's like hardcore left that's like, no, it's a social construct, all this stuff. and they'll tell me because I'm on the left, so they don't think they have anything to fear and of being like, you know.
Rafiq, what were you about to say? You was
confronted.
going to say something?
I think
I'm sorry.
Rafiq was going to... No,
Well, I would say there's a
you
problem.
finished,
Yeah.
right? Okay, go ahead, Rafiq.
No, I was gonna say it's a problem if people on the left who disagrees with this don't stand up. Otherwise, it's Joanna Man rising. You know.
What?
It is Joanna Man. It really is.
I don't
Did
think
you see
nobody
that
get.
fucking-
I don't think people
fucking
get that
creature?
reference, but I did.
Toronto.
That movie was made like 15 years ago. So like, look how
Oh, I was
fast the
literally a
needles
fetus.
moved, right? Like 15 years ago, the movie was made, and it was hilarious, and it was a joke that a man can pretend to be a woman and play basketball. And now that's hate speech, and now you get banned. It's like I can't imagine that movie playing on television these days because
They
it
can
goes
like
against
white
all
chicks
the
now.
things that the radical left wants to push.
Yeah,
be
the
fair, you
Overton
can't make
window
any-
is ship. Oh, please.
Anyway.
I was to say you can't make any new programming on television anymore. If I were a TV producer, I would just quit it right now because like, what can you make that won't be unacceptable in 6 months? What can you do that won't result in everyone who ever
It has
a
to
year or
be.
two later?
It
Get a
has to
private
be
network.
no. It has to be someone with some balls that says, "I am going to purposely get offensive material, and I'm going to have actual sponsors who don't give a fuck." You know what I'm saying?
Where are
And
they?
will
And Tree,
Like South Park.
Tree, those people, when that happens, the Tucker Carlsons, for instance, they blow up. Everyone wants it. If there was a right-wing, anti-PC, anti-woke late-night comedy show, it would be the biggest show in the
Yeah.
entire world. The
It'd be
problem
boycotted
is,
and banned.
the problem
would be
is
banned
you
everywhere.
can't get any advertisers for it. And like Katz was saying,
you
know,
can't get advertisers for it. You just can't get the big. You can't get Coca-Cola.
My pillow, but I turn on the TV and all I see is this propaganda bullshit, people wearing masks. But if you really wanted to get on television with a show like that, you'd have to find a writer who's ballsy, you'd have to find a network that's ballsy, and you'd have to find someone who didn't make a joke 15 years ago that's no longer acceptable.
So let me just look at a parallel universe.
Yeah, the minefield that they've set for us is too fucking dangerous.
I can give you guys an example of what's happening on broadcast television right now. I don't know if you guys have seen or watched The Good Doctor. I don't really want to watch it anymore because all the left-wing shit's starting to get in there. But this previous episode, they brought in 3 topics. They brought in the transgender issue, right? They brought in the anti-white hatred issue where the black patient was like, wanted an all-black team of doctors, and then the black doctor committed a racism against the black patient. And at the very end, one of the doctors uses the term Latinx. Latinx is not accepted by anybody in the country, by anybody. It's like 4% of Hispanics like that term Latinx.
Not even that much. Not even that much.
This is broadcast television. Broadcast television, they're pushing extremely far left ideals. So that's what we're up against. Broadcast television, not even cable.
And also, all the
explain
normies
Latin.
are the ones who watch broadcast TV. So the
Right.
normies, like I said last time, they're the ones who got activated and did their mail-in stuff last time. They're the Black Square, Blackout Tuesday, Instagram people. They think that's real. They don't understand.
And they don't deserve to have an opinion.
They want to conform to the normal. A lot of normies, that's what they're called, normies. And so if that's the normal, they'll start to conform to it over time. And that's what they do on purpose. Like the show sucks in terms of writing. They push this propaganda on us for that same reason, to get everyone normalized in all this.
And BJ, you get that, and I get that, and we get that. But what scares the shit out of me is our kids. Like, I don't have kids, but the royal our kids.
Hypothetical children.
They're our hypothetical children. They're getting pumped with this shit constantly. Abolish whiteness. If you watch the television, if you were an alien just watching our media, you would think the country is 80% black, 80% gay, and 5% transgender, and the rest are interracial couples. But what they're pushing on our kids, I don't think our kids who are being raised by iPads. I was just with my family up in upstate Pennsylvania, and one of the people was literally at the table with their kids. They were just watching like iPads at dinner. Our kids aren't smart enough to pick up on the fact that they're being fucking brainwashed.
Okay, I got to interject here. I got to interject here. Okay, I am teaching conservatism in a culture. And I will say this. Conservative parents, if you don't take advantage of the fact that your kids are not allowed to come back to public school, then you deserve everything you get. You have the opportunity to basically rear your children with the values that you have, with the characteristics that you actually display in yourself. And you should be able to take control of you have your children there all that time with you, or whoever you hire to homeschool your children. You can prevent them from being indoctrinated. But no, see what happens is that you dumbasses have kids and you don't even financially plan for shit like this. You just think, I just want to have some babies. And you don't understand that these public schools are actually concentration camps for your children. And you can basically take this time to teach your children, hey, there's only two genders. Hey, you're going to encounter these type of people. Hey, let me tell you about communism. Let me tell you about the ethnic cleansing of communism. Let me tell you why Nazism is bad, but it ain't got shit on how many people died underneath communism. These are the things you can teach your children now and legally do it, because they're not allowed into, well, in Georgia, they're allowed back in school, but in other places, they are not. You all have to take in financial consideration. If you're going to have kids, you better financially provide either for private tutors, homeschool, or send them to private schools.
But Tree, that's hard.
Then don't have babies.
Yeah,
Don't have kids.
Abortion.
Don't have kids.
Kill your babies.
But
all the
on the
conservative
technology on the
parents
iPad, on iPads, you know, the people who make them don't allow their children to use them. Something to think about, right?
That's exactly right. That's a real thing. Like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, all those people, they like banned their kids from using that shit. And to all the conservative parents, to what Tree was saying, if you're a conservative parent, unless you're in the most dire of fucking straits, if you put your kids in these public schools, they really are fucking indoctrination.
Yeah.
You deserve to have your kid come home one day and say, Daddy, you're white. I hate you, and I hate this goddamn country. And then they're trans at 13, pink hair, twerking for tips. You deserve it.
What? And you can see. Go ahead, BJ. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. Like we're talking kind of idealistically when it comes to the schooling situation. The public schools are complete propaganda and all over the country. And you might be able to get into like a private charter or something like that. But that's kind of rare. A lot of them are lottery systems. Private schools, they cost at minimum like $10,000 a year. And if you have multiple kids, the average person definitely cannot afford that. Right now, I'm living in Newport Richey near Tampa, Florida. It's a conservative area, but also poorer than average. And people here can't afford, if you have 3 kids, $30,000 a year. They can't afford $10,000 a year. So yeah, and I know it's like, okay, well, why don't you homeschool? Then that brings up the problems of, okay, what do you do for work if you're staying home all the time? It is a privileged position, and I would love to homeschool my kids or send them to private school, but it's a privileged position to say, oh, they can just do this. Most of them can't. That's the problem. That's why we need to fight back for public schools, or at least fight in order for us to be able to go to charter schools and get a voucher or something like that.
Yeah, no, you're obviously right.
Go ahead, Kat.
You can fight against those teachers unions because I don't think they really care about education. Because
you can't fight the teachers.
No, that's a there's no way you're gonna win against the union. Go ahead, Katz.
No.
Go ahead, Katz.
I want to address what Big Bad Bear do, because I 100% agree with you. Not the argument, the classic argument of send your kids to private school or homeschool them is a fantasy. That only works for people that either have extremely low living expenses or are very wealthy. What we need, conservatives need to really pay more attention to school, because we've been paying we've been talking too much about taxes and other issues, which are important, but school is an issue that we let slip and the left took over the schools. We need charter schools, like where you can actually, allocate your local taxes or your county taxes towards an institution that isn't explicitly under the Department of Education's control. Is the only way that we're going to be able to have regular conservative, not even conservative, just non-woke weirdos who want to have children that don't dye their hair unnatural colors and hate them. That's the only way we're ever going to do it. We have to really re-emphasize education, because this is something the left did very They've been doing this for a long time, and you know what? It was a brilliant strategy. They took over the educational systems, and people were like, "Oh, well, they'll grow out of it." No, they don't.
I think you
They're
guys need to think
indoctrinated
They
outside
took
the
over every institution in
It
the past
took
50
over
years.
Everything.
the
Every
education, it took
institution.
over
It was
diversity,
called.
But they
the
started
pop
with the
culture.
schools more than
And
anything.
And they're ending with the military.
It's and
That's
they're
the
ending
last
with the
one.
military, and it started.
No,
It's
they're
the
too
long
pussy
march
for the
through the
military.
institutions. Oh, sorry, Rafiq, please.
No, they were just too pussy for the military. But yeah, I mean, education with the with the colleges, the schools, mainstream media, pop culture, big tech.
Yeah,
All the big
you know,
corporations now.
in Atlanta.
oh,
Hold on, I got
they
to
did
share.
this a long time ago.
Hold
Oh,
on, hold on.
please.
Let me share this real quick, you guys. In Atlanta, there is a black commune where they don't eat. They're vegan. They don't get vaccinated. They basically do not trust the system, the educational system. They're very racist blacks, but that's not the point. The point is that they have collected themselves together and have actually got educated people who are certified teachers, and they have all put their money together for food and to rent out certain type of buildings to teach children. And we're talking about the old-fashioned way. Like what I mean by the old-fashioned way, like we're talking about in the 1800s, where you had those shacks, where if you had children
prairie
who were,
schools.
where from 5 to 10, you had them in this one classroom, and then you break them up in groups within that same shack. Like, okay, those of you who are in the 4th grade, we're going to come over here and read and going to do the math, this and the other. And that's how they was doing it until they got enough of the kids to where they were able to break it down into elementary and then high school, because they didn't have a middle school. They just bonded the middle school to the high school. You have to start off small and then get into something big like this, but it just takes just a group of people, and it was just a group of families who basically had their own ideology, and they decided to pull their money together, and their thing was they did not want to educate their children underneath the white man's system, so therefore they began to teach them and had their own curriculum. They passed the GED, and that's all that is. You have to think small, and then you can move up big. I don't think you should just go ahead and accept. I totally get what you guys are saying. It costs money, but these people they didn't make a lot of money.
Are you
You
saying
need a
that-
big network
I
at
know
that
that
point,
there was
Tree.
I know there's like a family like in Georgia. Well, Trey, I think you're talking about the soul vegetarian folks, right? I know
Yes,
there was
yes,
like a,
yeah, exactly. Those folks, yeah. I mean, they don't have to worry about nothing because they started off small and then now they're big
Right.
now. But
Yeah,
what
no
I'm
family,
saying is you don't. I don't want you guys to give up because of money. I think that's just not an issue. It's just that and we all know that you can find conservative families who think the same way we do, and
Yeah.
those who have kids. You just have to get with
But-
those individuals.
Tree,
Yeah, it
the
is
problem
possible
is
because it's
David
possible.
Horowitz has been doing this. So David Horowitz, who basically funded Breitbart, Andrew Breitbart funded Steve Bannon. He has been attacking the liberal educational system. But the problem is, and I'm not being a fucking doomsayer, I'm not being a dickhead, I'm not being a black pillar, but they've been doing this. They had a plan since the 60s called the Long March to the Institutions. They're very good at what they do, and they have taken over first the education system, then corporate woke media now. BJ said the army. They're so powerful that if we don't start, funding isn't enough. I do, however, to tie it back to the executive orders, the Democrats, the far left, not Democrats like Archer, like the far left. What they do.
Fucking Democrat.
You're right. No, you're right. No, let me finish. You're right. Let me finish. You're right.
Lips again.
Hold on. Wait, you're right.
Holy
I'm
shit.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I
Bullshit.
misspoke.
Fucking
I misspoke.
God
May
damn.
I? No, you're right. I'm sorry. May I?
No, you may not, bitch. All right. All right, here we go. We're going.
Wait. But Jupiter.
So wait.
Hold on. I see where you're going, but what you're saying has nothing to do with what this black commune has accomplished.
Well, I will say this. This is going to be super fucking controversial. Archer's going to be mad. A lot of people in the chat's going to be mad. You know, this black community that's racist, they don't trust other groups. That kind of works. Look at Japan. Someone was telling me the other day that if you leave your laptop on the train in Japan, if you call the next day, it'll be in the lost and found. There are cultures that if you have mutual interests, and race is a huge part of this, and I'm sorry, this is biology, it's a fact. If you have these things, it does sometimes work.
Can I jump in? So, like the ethnocentric interest, the ethnocentric interest is big throughout the whole entire world. We're the only countries that aren't ethnocentric, and it's not really a realistic possibility for us. But if you look at that community, the funny part is that, like, where does this distrust of the white man system come from? Well, right now, if you're growing up, a lot of it comes from white people in the government. We're telling you not to trust the system and telling you something about to get you. So at some point, it's hard to blame them from their communities. That's what I would do if I was told all the time, the system's racist, they're out to get you, they're killing you in the streets. It's the natural reaction to that. And we can't have that sort of language in a country like ours, which is different ethnicities, religions, all of that. Again, in Japan, in my work, in China, in Korea, and most countries, there are only one race of people, but not with us.
So what are you white people doing about it?
Tree, can I
Go ahead, Felix. Go ahead, Felix. You haven't talked all day. Go ahead, Felix.
Okay, so back to what you said about why can't the conservatives do that? Well, for one, we are a very instant gratification culture now. Like, in the smartphone age, I can literally Google private schools near me and it comes up. But no, if I have to organize it, fuck that. That takes too much effort. People are fucking lazy, and white people are fucking doormats. Like, you deserve, if you are gonna let people get wipe their boots on you after they go shovel their snow, then know what? You kind of deserve it. You kind of deserve all the shit that happens.
Those are not the people that want homeschooling. They're the ones that are very indoctrinated already in this system.
I know there are so many white people, at least around me, that I know. They're like conservative, I guess is the right word to say. But they're like, no, I don't want to upset the black people because it might hurt their feelings. I'm like, okay, then have fun with your kid. Have fun with your kid ending up as messed up as they do.
No, I
kind of deserve all the shit that happens.
Rafiq and then hold on, Rafiq, Katz, and then Jupiter. Go ahead.
No, white people can do what the soul vegetarian folks are doing. I mean, I knew a friend of mine in college who was homeschooled, you know, like this Christian, his neighborhood, it was all Christian. I think some of the parents were certified teachers, a few of them. And they actually, in one of the little suburban basements, actually had like the classroom where they had homeschool materials. It actually was like regular. It wasn't something crazy where, you know, they just let them surf the internet. I had like at some wife's swap show. But I mean, yeah, they just like, you know, had a neighborhood where people could just pull the resources and do the homeschooling. I mean, there's resources on how to homeschool out there. It's not like they're making shit up on the air, on the fly. So
Or the
that's all I wanted
optics
to
of
say.
that community.
Go ahead, Katz, and then Jupiter.
What'd you say, Phil?
I think
I don't need his turn.
Okay, then with Trip.
I'll take his turn.
Okay, then BJ and then Trip.
I think what conservatives need to do is reassess our approach, because in the past I've said we can't do anything until we clean out the universities and the high schools. Thinking about it now, it would be a monumental task that, frankly, I'm not sure we could accomplish at this point. That tree is too big and its roots go too deep. What conservatives need to do is help establish a new tree. We need to help it so that there can be a conservative, at least a viewpoint neutral, let alone conservative, non-woke based educational system that may have to exist in parallel for a while to one that is in existence right now. Because right now, the teachers union is coming hard for homeschoolers. They're trying to shut down all charter schools. And as long as they're able to maintain a complete monopoly on what constitutes education, there is no hope. I really don't foresee, barring some sort of mass scale cultural revolution that's like Trump times 10, I don't see the teachers union ever becoming non-woke, ever becoming conservative. So at the very least, what we need to do is just protect people that are brave and creative and allow them to have access to the resources that they're entitled to raise their children in such a way that they won't become indoctrinated.
Aren't you
Okay,
Okay.
BJ,
inherently
and then
liberal,
Trip.
though?
I'm sorry?
So to what Rafik had said about, there's some people who are like in Christian groups who can do this, right? Here's the issue. It's all about the network you have. So within a Christian group, you're going to, it's probably tied to some church or multiple churches. You're going to have a big population to draw from. But it's harder if you're non-religious to have that sort of network, especially if you're conservative, because you can't exactly put out a public notice to say, hey, I wanted to do this sort of thing to have a more conservative education, because that's dangerous for your career and it's dangerous to speak up again about that. So without that network, it becomes very difficult. I mean, for myself personally, I have a friend who's had a newborn, and I'm probably advocating about a year from now. And I'm thinking about this sort of thing a lot, but I'm not going to be able to communicate with enough people, conservatives in my area, enough in order to have that network effect. And when it comes to it, like, it might end up being the case that the internet is something that may help out a lot, especially in rural areas where conservatives are. And when we have a sort of education, maybe PragerU can create it. That's some sort of guidelines, and you could have less faculty out of school while you go through this program. When you start the social interaction, maybe that's part of it. But I think that network effect has a big deal. And again, the biggest problem in America, and this ties back, we've already mentioned it twice, it ties back to every issue for us, is that conservatives can't speak out. And if conservatives can't speak out and express themselves, how they're supposed to create these groups? They have to do it in secret. That's the problem.
Get the bureaucracy out of it. There's too much bureaucracy in education, and that should be a conservative value.
I think it's possible, and Trip, well, I'm gonna answer this and then I'm gonna let Trip talk. I think it's possible. Just don't be so overt with communicating. Like, don't start a Facebook group saying, conservative homeschooling, blah 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 blah. Like, for example, and I'm just gonna be very transparent. When I started my third channel, well, it's already been started, but I decided to deal with the culture of women's images and men thinking and dealing with relationships and basically values. I decided to just basically look non-threatening. When my house is finished with the roof and everything, it's gonna hurt my heart, but when I am doing non-political, I'm going to remove any indications, especially like my beautiful blue line flag behind me. And I am with the dreadlocks. PR people already assume that I'm not right wing if they don't know who Tria Logic is. When they see me, when they hear me, they automatically think I'm part of Black Lives Matter or some shit like that. So it's like, okay, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm gonna hide in plain sight and basically have my own agenda. And I think conservatives should do the same thing. Last thing. For example, say lollipop or candy lovers or hard candy lovers Inc. And it has nothing to do with candy. You're just basically labeling your group like that so it doesn't get caught up in the AI, and you vet everyone that comes into that closed group. Okay, Trip, go ahead.
I really wanted to. We've been talking about school and public school versus private school, and I think there's some good points that have been brought up. Like, I don't think homeschooling or private school is conservative by nature. I just think that public school has been completely indoctrinated by left-wing ideology. Also, it has been corrupted by the last year, and people get away with a bunch of bullshit that they should not normally get away with. For instance, Zoom cameras off. Kids in public school don't have to have their Zoom cameras on at all. And we pay a lot of money to send people to public school. So the average price, I think this is a Michigan study, the average price to send a kid to private school was about $9,000 per year. And the average price to send a kid to public school, it's about $18,000. It's twice the amount.
The fuck?
What? Really?
Yeah.
Well, say that.
And our money.
Bureaucracy.
Is that just all in taxes?
Yeah, basically taxes and
local
overhead
taxes
and
for
different
properties,
committees and administration. And they're adding.
Okay.
College has added so much.
I think teachers make twice as much in public schools than in private schools.
What?
I think
Bad
teachers in
thing.
public
What
schools make
a
way more money.
ripoff.
Way more.
That's true.
It's
Way more.
absurd.
Public
It-
schools?
Why do they get
it's
paid
absurd.
the same amount of money to sit in front of their
Private
fucking
schools get paid
computer
way
screens
better.
now?
Hang on. I'm almost done. So, so the thing is, like, the kids don't have to have their cameras on. In my district, in the public schools, if their grades are affected by a test, especially the final exam, it will not lower their grade. It can only raise their grade. And the kids know this. That's a problem. If the kids know that their grades won't even be affected, why would they try? Why would they turn on the cameras? Sometimes they're not there at all. They just put the camera on and they just stay all day. They do whatever they want. In private school, this happens too, but it's much rarer. But in public school, it's okay because they don't want to stress kids out or whatever. And I get that. But the public versus private debate, I don't think is conservative versus liberal at all. There are too many rules in the public school system. The private school system is allowing kids to go back to school, even in California. Like mine, we have students in session. It's hybrid, but students are in session right now. And who's on the front lines? Like us, the teachers. But like, they didn't really prepare us for this. We're the model for the public schools. So if we fuck something up, they're going to learn from our mistakes. And they're sitting at home doing nothing with their teachers' unions, making twice what I do.
And wait,
At the same time,
You're a teacher,
I'm
Trip?
sorry.
Yeah, I'm a
I
teacher.
didn't know that. I did not know that.
So I've done like scientific education for like 10 years, basically
Good
indoor
for
and
you.
outdoor school. Thank you. But here's the other thing that really bothers me. Private schools can go out of business, and right now they are. I already know schools in my area, private schools that have closed, 2 or 3 schools already in the last couple months, because people took their kids out of school and put them in public school to get that bullshit education over there, which is basically nothing. They sit in front of an iPad all day
It's
and are
daycare.
bored out of their mind.
Not
And
even.
those can't fail. They bail them out like banks. It's fucking atrocious. It's atrocious.
That's true.
And we do a better job at our school for less money than they do at their schools for twice the amount. Better job.
And
The
Trip,
Trip, you know who's being hurt,
Wait.
right? I mean, with all this woke culture from the teachers'
kids.
unions, or yeah, but mostly the poor and the minority.
There
right,
you
and,
go.
and wait,
One
and wait, I
helpful.
got to get this out. The thing is, with the teachers' unions, especially in the public school system, it's not ideology. These aren't, we like to paint it in like left and right. These are communist teachers, blah, blah. No, the left is much more susceptible to corruption. They have a
Then
lot
it is
more
an
incentive.
ideology.
What do you mean
No,
by
no,
that?
it
Then
is.
it is an
What I
ideology.
mean is when you build something that can't fail, like you said, if a private school sucks, it goes out of business. Sometimes private schools don't even suck and they go out of business.
Yeah.
But with the public schools right now, a lot of them have like something like 200 to 500 to 600% failure rates than they did last year. And they don't give a shit. It's not that these teachers' unions are left wing. It's that the fact that they're funded by public money that can't fail, the fact that most of them can't be fucking fired ever, they can't go out of business, they get bailed out. That's why. It has nothing to do with them. Most of them
They think they're a
probably don't know.
utility company.
Right, but most of them don't really care about ideology. They just want that cool fucking hard cash.
But they
And
are
they
part
still
of an
fucking
ideology,
complain.
aren't they, though?
And they
still
still-
complain about their fucking money. I can't believe it. I cannot
Trip.
believe I'm paying for this shit. They still
Trip.
complain about it.
Trip.
We teachers don't get paid enough. You get paid $100K a year if you've been teaching 20 years in the public school system. $100 fucking K. Some of these people.
Trip, and wait, I live right across, I could literally take my camera and show you. I live right across the street from a public school, and I don't have kids, 28, and I have to pay for their fucking school because I live around here. But 2 private schools have gone out of business in my neighborhood. Now, I had an ex-girlfriend who was a teacher at a public school, and she said that they would classify kids as, they would put them in special ed type classes because you get a lot more money. So they were diagnosing kids, the school was,
Sounds
just
like
to get more
the
money.
COVID response. Sounds like
And-
checking the COVID box on the
Yes,
diagnoses did last year.
exactly fucking right.
But if their
This is
parents,
the
if their
Cuomo
parents
system.
don't give a
But
shit,
Tree,
if their parents don't give a shit, fuck them.
a lot of them, a lot of them, like they said, it is a jaded. It's a jaded perspective to think that a lot of these people, they don't have a fucking choice.
You
What are
have
they
you
gonna
all
do?
that's
But it's
bullshit.
not the kid's
You
fault.
always
That's the
have a
thing.
choice. You always have a choice. If
And
you
depend-
if you know
The
if
kid-
you
the
know
kid
without a
doesn't.
shadow of a doubt that your child is not no special need, you know your especially if you are a good parent. All right. Now they're not gonna do. Now I will say this: they ain't gonna do that to children who parents who give a shit. But there's a whole lot of children who parents don't give a shit, and
They
those
let
are the
anybody
ones that
be a
they'll do
parent.
that to.
Wait, can I
They
can I
let
can I,
anybody be a
jump,
parent.
can I jump in and just say
Sure,
like
go ahead, Archer.
there's a ton of pseudo academics that it's going on currently right now in academics right now where you have unfalsifiable claims that are being paraded around as if like these things are truths, like fuck like God, why am I forgetting this? The light socialist shit, where it's equity in the United States. How we're teaching kids about fucking whiteness, or
Gender
or
unicorn
your
is part of
systemic.
public
So it's
sex ed.
all of this shit is unfalsifiable claims. If you put that shit to the fucking scientific method, it falls fucking flat, and they have to use rhetoric and argument to argue their way around just to tell you why, oh, this exists for this reason. This shit was never found in a fucking lab. The problem is that you in academics, you have parents that are sending their kids to school who have trust that these teachers and these academics are teaching their kids what are specializing in fields that they are knowledgeable about, that they're really not, but because they have that fucking title next to their name, these parents like they think it's right. I think I'm like if someone diagnosed their kid with special needs, and that came from a title from someone who's supposed to be trusted in society, then like why as a parent would like. I don't think the first response should be, "No, you're wrong." Right? I think it would be the first response for most parents in America.
Go ahead, BJ, and then I'll respond. I'm sorry, BJ. BJ Katz, and then I'll respond. Go ahead, BJ and Katz.
I was just gonna say that's why liberals are so intent on it's all about authority. Science is science, and so if someone of a position, that position comes from academia, says something, you believe it because it's all about that authority there, whether it's true or not. So most people just defer to the experts for every field. There really is no expert in sociology. It's not a real field, right? There's no experts in a lot of different things we're talking about when it comes to climate change. Not the same things when it comes to biology, for example. There's degrees of expertise and knowledge you can have. And if you have that knowledge, you can spin it in the way that you want to spin it.
Katz?
I think one of the things that we can do that can help with this is if we as conservatives start pushing. Yes. Okay. If we as conservatives, we can help this problem if we specifically try to decouple academia from any kind of authority position. Because here's the thing, as long as you have to have a college degree to have a job of any particular economic value, we're fucked. Because we can't get these lunatics out of the asylum. But if it's interesting, like Google and Facebook and some of these other places are starting to say that you don't need a college there at even some of these higher level professions. What we as conservatives should do if we really want to hurt these people is gut the bureaucracy. Not within the teachers union and all that stuff. We can't touch them, but we can say, okay, a job can't actually require you to have a college degree in order to work in a field, just to demonstrate that you're competent and provide a framework to show that you're competent in that field, even if you went to a trade school or if you learn from experience. Like this will allow people to become independent without having to go through the cult.
So legally, employers are not allowed to require like an IQ test. That's like it's illegal to do so. Like you're saying, if we did it with college education, well, like college education is a marker, just like IQ is. But putting that aside, you have to represent yourself in some other way. To employers, and then if you make that degree, like you said, illegal to even ask about, that's going to shift America instantly because no one's going to get degrees at that point. It's all credential. Don't learn it.
I know some. I need to respond here. I must be a hardcore bitch to the core because I would know my child because one, I would not allow the internet to raise my child. I would eat with my child. I'm talking about conservatism. I'm not talking about the liberal shit where you let the streets and the fucking classrooms and the fucking internet and my friend and the friends on the fucking block raise my child while I got them take Instagram photos. I am talking about sitting and eating with my child, asking my child, what did they learn to do? Look at my child's books. Listen to my child tell me what they learned today, what happened today, and therefore I would know my child more than a fucking teacher would. So therefore, no one would sit up here and tell me that my child is something that I know for a fact, because there's always such a thing. It's called second opinion. If a fucking person tried to misdiagnose my child as special needs, I would first say, what the fuck? Let me see this test, and I want to get my child to get retested. If they refuse, I will take my child to an independent tester, and once it was proven that I was right, I would sue the fuck out of them. I would teach them that I am one of the very few black women that this child you're not gonna fuck with. But let me ask you something. How many parents do you have like this in the school system?
None.
That's the big thing, is there's none. And even Tucker Carlson said, I never, when I was at dinner with my kids, when I was at vacations with my kids, I never pushed ideology on them. And that's a big problem. You need to teach your kids outside of public school. But I will say this, as someone in the construction field, we need like people like Mike Rowe and people like that to push trade schools, trades. It's something, I make a lot more money than, and people that I work under or work with or work for make a fuck ton more money than these kids coming out of college, getting bullshit jobs and having crippling debt. The construction field, the trades, it is honestly, it is the medical. Yeah, too. Well, I mean, and I'm not just talking about, I make more money than a lesbian dance theory teacher. I make more money than people that have, business degrees, things like that. But also, if you're not going to go into medical, education, or, STEM in general, then don't go to college, make a business, go into work, or go into a trade. And that's how conservatives will come out on top. It's got to be.
I agree.
Wait, Tree.
Yes.
The teachers aren't the ones though. Like you can't get a diagnosis for a mental disability through a teacher. Like a teacher can say, I think. Yeah, like a teacher can say,
psychologist can do the diagnosis.
They would have to still
Yeah.
prove to me, you're not going to take my child and say, oh yeah, child, we gave your child a test and therefore your child needs to be in special ed. You're not going to get away with that shit with me. You're going to have to prove that to me, and I would make their lives fucking hell. But you got to ask yourself, how many parents would do that? We are in a society that has been groomed to be bitches and weak doormats, and therefore you're going to rarely see a woman like me walk up in there and be like, the fuck my child is special ed. You're going to prove that shit to me, okay? And they're going to put it in my child's record. Yeah, don't fuck with this one because her mama crazy, okay?
That's the way it should be.
There's not a lot of trees out there, though. Remember that. You're a beast.
It's not a forest.
Yeah, exactly. You see the forest through the trees. A lot of people don't.
I will say this though. There are some parents who will stand up for their child, and in the public school system, that's one thing. But one thing I've seen from my experience, there are a lot more parents who will blame the school for their child's own failings, and that is abhorrent. They see
that happens too. Yeah, definitely.
Like they see it as like internet. Like if it's not work, fucking fix it. Like what the hell's wrong with you? Like nothing's wrong with my kid. Yeah, and my kid got a 0. Why'd they get a 0? Well, they didn't do your fucking assignment. All right. Or they didn't ask their parents to do it for them, like some of the kids do. So there are a lot of parents who see it as, like I said, like a service, a commodity. They treat it as such. But when it comes down to like maybe there is something wrong with my kid, or my kid's just not applying themselves, or I'm not having dinner with them, or bringing them outside and actually teaching them about life and teaching them how to like make a schedule to do their fucking homework. If it's not any of that, then some of these parents are letting it go by the wayside.
But then
And
you
who
show
suffers?
a
The kid
trace,
suffers, and
you
then the
show
teacher gets blamed for it.
a track. It's easy to show if the child's fucking up. You say, well, here's my book, here's the how many homework assignments that the child brought in. Here are the grades on that homework assignment. Here's
we have
the
a paper trail. We
disciplinary.
make sure that the teacher-
yeah.
yeah.
So if the stupid ass
parent has heard
parent
about
come
all
in
of
there
this
talking
before
all
it
that
hits the
shit,
fan,
you can
too.
actually show them. Well, your child is. You won't say it like this, but you'll say your child is actually not achieving the
Fucking
grade
up.
they're supposed to be achieving because of this. But as a good parent, like I said, if you're a good parent, you make sure your child does their homework. You make sure you go over their lesson plan. See, this one's saying that's something that's very fucking rare. That's why you knuckleheads need to watch when you put your dick in somebody you want to have babies. You need to make sure there's a big ass
Thank God I don't have this
responsibility to have a child.
Pull out
Okay.
cake, dude. Pull out cake.
You're also talking about, like, as a good parent, you need to do these things. But as a good teacher, like I was saying, there's a paper trail. This is not the first time we talk to the parent before this ever hits the fan. You know what I mean? So there's warning, and the parents are given warning. The ones who aren't paying attention and who see it as a subscription service to get my kid to high school or get my kid to college, whatever it is, those are the ones that aren't paying attention and aren't doing the things that you're talking about. And that's okay in the public school system because the teachers will be, oh, yeah, fine. And they give them the grade, like
but I agree.
Hold
Hold on. I agree with them. If the parents don't give a shit, now you're coming. This is coming from me. If the parents don't give a shit, I don't give a shit either. I am talking about how we are. Those of us,
I'm agreeing
we are. Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is we should start taking consideration of what we need to do. Now, I've talked about this before in reference to the left owning everything. How many of you all are preparing to own shit or to groom or because I'm grooming my godchildren to take over shit, you know what I'm saying, in the social media aspects to business aspects. I don't ever want them to be subjected the way we are to the left control because the Republicans have never taken over anything. And for one example, then I'm gonna shut up. For example, I see something big that's happening now that Gina Carano has been fired for just being a conservative to defend herself. And now we have streaming services and Ben Shapiro is coming out with a fucking movie. I never saw that shit coming. So now we're deciding to take over certain things that have been dominated by left wings. But we should have had this done 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I am grooming my little nephews harder than John Weaver grooms young boys. My nephews are going to make me look like, what's that? John Weaver, the guy from the Lincoln Project who was grooming young 14-year-old boys. I am grooming my nephews, but not sexually, in a way that they are going to be so far right, they're going to make me look like a fucking communist.
What are you saying, BJ?
Sorry.
BJ?
I forgot what I was saying at this point.
Archer, was that Trip or Archer?
I'm not a pervert or a pedophile. I'm so sorry, guys.
I only respond to the name Pussy Slayer.
But no, I mean, we're gonna do closing in this, but I want to say one more thing in reference to the left controlling like everything. Like I said, you know, we are now being forced to have our own platforms. I may still be on Twitter, but baby, I live on minds.com. I live on that platform. I can say what the fuck I want. Now, there is some consequences and repercussions because if anybody like ever want to have it out for me, I don't know how successful they're going to be because I don't depend on anything. They could probably go in there and like, oh, look at what Tree said. Like I made a joke about George Floyd on there and somebody from Twitter, like I said, I made a joke. Like I said, I would like to congratulate George Floyd on his 9th month of sobriety. Hang in there, woo, almost there.
Oh my God.
I made that joke, and somebody went from Twitter and screen capped it and brought it from Minds to Twitter. But I was like, so what the fuck you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? I said it. You know what I'm saying? You can't cancel me because what the fuck? I'm not a celebrity. I'm not holding no, I don't have no advertisement. It's like nothing you can do, but I'm in a rare position where that
But
shit
Tree,
can't come back on me.
Tree, is mine better than Gab?
And to me it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Doesn't Gab not
Yes.
have their own crypto?
Way better than Gab.
Better to use.
Way
Oh,
better than
yeah.
Gab.
Cats?
Yeah,
It's
it
way
is.
easier
Oh
to use.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
on both Gab and Mines.
Cats
Mines
loves
is
mines.
But Gab was smarter to not have Amazon as their
True,
service,
yeah.
unlike Parler.
You got to give it to Torvo. Torvo was really smart not to fall into those traps. So I'm on Gab, but I'm not active on Gab. I'm fucking active like hell on Mines though.
At least
I'm
mine
gonna
says
make a
mobile app.
fucking
don't think
mines.
Gab
I
will ever
have one.
one.
I'll use the fucking stupid thing.
I don't
was
know
on
why you
Twitter.
don't. It's fucking big
I
as
know.
hell.
Fun.
And they have
fun.
liberals on there too. That's the thing. It's not an echo chamber. They have
Bitcoin
liberals.
just
Not
hit
at all.
$57,000, by the way.
Oh my
Sorry.
god, dude! I've been making so much fucking money
Me
this
too.
year, dude.
Me too.
Oh fuck
sorry.
you guys with the
I'm
Bitcoin.
sorry, look,
really? You guys
I bought
gonna
it
brag
just
on
a
that,
year
right?
ago. I bought it
This
a year
is
ago.
just my newest Cash App one. I bought it at 300
Oh,
on that one.
Robinhood. Robinhood?
No, this is Cash App. Fuck
But-
Robinhood. They robbed me. They robbed Hood.
Get out here! You bought that stupid ass fucking worthless GameStop stock. That shit is fucking
No,
trash.
no.
Wait, hold on. I have to talk about this.
GameStop
Archer,
is the
Archer,
shit.
you don't understand.
Fucking company. You paid a
Trip,
Archer, wait
please
for-
shoot him, man.
fucking
I'm gonna destroy you right now, buddy. I'm
You-
gonna fucking destroy you.
Here we go.
Just shut your fucking mouth.
Shut your
Man,
fucking
I'm
lip.
gonna my GameStop. Get shorted, bitch. You
Get my gun. Where's my
Listen
gun?
up. All right. People
Can
did
you
it
mute him,
because
Tree?
it was fucking funny, Archer. People didn't do it. If you did it to make money, you were in it for the wrong reasons, okay?
so many people are doing it for that reason.
Archer,
Shut
I
up,
love
Archer.
you.
Let
Archer,
me
I
go.
love you. Wait, I'm going to give you an example of how we were all memeing, okay? I'm going to give you an example, right? I put $420 into AMC, $420 into GME, and then $666 into fucking Bitcoin, bitch. That's what we did, and we fucking held because we didn't give a fuck. If I have to spend a couple $100 and it just robs all those hedge funds of all their money, fucking good. That's the price it costs. I don't give a shit.
They want
Trip, he'll never understand
What
this.
about all the big
He'll
hedge
never
funds
understand
that
this, but
shorted the
watching-
stock and still made money? You're only focusing on like 2 hedge funds that lost money when every other fucking hedge fund wants to
Archer, you wouldn't get it, but
$100,
watching.
that's worth it to me to make them sweat, buddy. I don't care.
Exactly,
We were memeing.
Archer.
Why do you think we bought Dogecoin?
It's a pump and dump. It's such a pump and dump.
Listen, we bought
These
it
aren't
because it was
investments.
Archer, stop.
Sure.
Wait. Archer,
Listen,
Yeah, I'm
we
so glad
bought
that
it
Grimace
because
is
it
still
was
here.
worthless. It was a joke. That's what we were
Grimace, we
doing.
miss you. I miss the foreplay.
Investing isn't a fucking joke. If you want to fucking meme and joke, go like do
sure,
something.
you wouldn't get it, but to
I mean,
watch hedge
Archer.
fund managers
Archer.
That, like,
I mean,
that's-
why
that's-
figures this
two
year just from
investing
fucking
is not
Robinhood? I don't give
memeing
a
or
shit.
fucking or joking.
I made 5 figures from just investments.
Okay,
I
so
don't care. I was memeing.
Archer, you wouldn't get it, but just to watch these hedge
That
fund
makes
people
us money,
have to
I
get
think.
bailed out, to cost them money, to make them look dumb, to make them sweat, was worth it all.
Worth it.
And I'm not
Yes,
some dumb
yes.
investor.
Thank
I've made it.
Otherwise,
Put them
that
on
sh-
their knees. Wait.
what-
Archer,
shit ton of money.
You also wouldn't appreciate the fact that these corrupt politicrats had to. I disagree with the Capitol. Blah blah blah. I'll say the obligatory things, but to watch our rulers who have treated us and sold us down the river and treat us like shit, to watch them crawl for once, to watch these hedge fund managers sweat and have to be bailed out by their big friends and made them look stupid.
That seems so petty, though. That seems so petty.
Yes.
That's so
You wouldn't
petty.
get it.
That
It's
was
so
the
No.
point.
petty.
Archer.
Hold on. Okay.
It's like you can
Wait. Stop. Hold on. Stop. Hold on. I gotta say this. Archer, people want to hear what you gotta
This is
say,
for that chisel, by the way.
but your mic is cutting off every time you raise your voice to a certain level.
shit, sorry.
So I wanna hear, first of all, BJ try to get into word. I wanna hear BJ, Trip, and then Archer, and then Jupiter can respond to what Archer gotta say. So go ahead, BJ.
I think this topic is boring and outdated, but I'll say this. I know a lot of you guys went in with like a couple $100, like, if I lose it, fuck it, fuck the hedge fund managers. Here's the thing, this is why I'm kind of like feel negative about the situation. I don't care what the hedge fund managers, but a lot of guys who got in really, really early, they knew what was going to happen. They knew that in a sense they're manipulating the market and pushing all these people into buy as a joke. They got filthy rich off this. There's plenty of people, you guys know more than I do, who made millions of dollars who are average everyday people. And then here's the other problem is that you guys might be some of the ones who are like, fuck the system. A lot of people said, oh shit, I can make a lot of money this way and fuck over the hedge funds and went into with money they really shouldn't have been investing in the first place.
They weren't paying attention.
I agree, but there's still a lot of those people. And GameStop went from 300 something to was it now 40 or 50? Those people lost a lot of money.
DJ, they shut off trading, and that's the thing. And I'll be honest, I got out. I'm not.
Do you know why they did that?
You got out. You got out and made some money. A lot of people didn't.
No,
Do you know why they? Do you know why they did that? They had to do that.
Tell us.
You have to do
because
that.
your friends were mad. Because Archer's
why?
daddy
Wait.
was mad.
John, no, don't get out of here. Don't fucking sneak out your way out of this. Why did they stop the trading? No, Jupiter, why did they stop the trading?
It said something about capital requirements.
What? No, Baron, don't. I think you know. But Jupiter,
I know
why?
exactly why they did, and this isn't
true. They didn't have enough money to cover
it. This isn't true. They didn't have enough money to cover the bet, but that's not the fact, because they didn't have enough money to cover the shorts either that Wall Street was doing.
Yeah.
No, that's not Robinhood. That wasn't Robinhood. Robinhood wasn't responsible for the short. Robinhood, there are specific. Okay, when you buy a stock, it doesn't automatically happen. It has to go through trading. It has to go through trading houses. Robinhood has to put up capital requirements.
But Archer, is there any evidence that? Is there any evidence that?
What about Cash App?
Wait, Archer. Was there any evidence about what Robinhood was saying was actually true, or you were taking their word for it?
Yes, there absolutely is. They're federal. They're following the SEC guidelines.
I can.
Well, I'm saying they're short on capital. Is that provable?
Yeah, they have. Robinhood has a liquidity problem. They should have more liquid cash on hand to cover these sort of high volume events. That's a problem. That's a problem of Robinhood.
Is that true? Is what they're saying? Is what I'm asking. Do we know for a fact that's true, or is that just what they're saying?
It's most. It's most probable. Well, fine. It's most probable. Do you think it's that is more probable than them being corrupt?
Yes, because if their funding comes
Where's
from
the evidence?
Wall Street players, what we're saying, someone was probable. And I'm saying there's a plenty of incentive for them to go, okay, I'm going to cut this out. Hedge funds have lost like $70 billion, right? There's a lot of money to stop that pain. And that money can be funneled into Robinhood in a million different ways, whether it's through funding, whether it's through kind of like a handshake agreement that's not actually, written down. There's a lot of different ways that can incentivize a company to do that.
Wait, Archer. I thought you arrogantly proposed this question to me. May I answer now? Number one, that's not true. Melvin Capital had $18 billion invested into Robinhood. That's already been out there. That's a fact. They did have enough money to cover, but let's say they didn't. I'll give you that, because of course you fucking.
Wait.
No, excuse me.
How does that make sense? How does that make sense? What you're saying? They invested $18 billion.
So I might let you guys get 2 more minutes on this subject, and we're gonna go on. We're gonna move on to our next topic.
If you were, Melvin Capital was literally funding.
Yeah.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Cash App and 6 other betting apps cut off all selling, rather, not buying, all buying of AMC, GameStop, and it escapes me. Nokia. They cut all that off. 7 apps total. Cash App definitely had enough money. Why did Cash App stop?
Because Cash App is okay. Think about Robinhood bets. Is they all are on Robinhood? Okay, because you have to look at the differences between these two and the target audience that they have. It's a reason why, like, Charles Schwab,
why did they cut off buying? Why did they?
Because everyone on Wall Street bets. They all trade on Robinhood. That's that whole community. They're all Robinhood traders. Then you have all of these day traders, wannabe fucking day traders who are on Wall Street Bet, who all have Robinhood accounts that are all focusing
You are the
in
worst
on
human
this
being
whole.
I've ever met.
Oh
I
my
want
God!
to
You
admit-
sound. Oh my God! You sound like
Alrighty,
a
we're gonna
wimp! Oh
stop
my
here.
God! Call
Okay.
me a Democrat, dude.
Okay. Stop, guys. You guys are crazy. Okay, we're gonna move on. I don't even want to hear ending rounds. We're just gonna move on because
Archer's
Oh,
face
okay.
is redder than
I
Rafiq's
want.
background.
We got. I am not going to keep you guys past 3 hours. I want to have that good reputation of keeping you guys here for only
you.
3 hours. So listen, you all saw, and don't worry, Chad. I'll give you the link to this Twitter, this tweet, in reference to Coca-Cola secretly implementing a course on how to be less white. It's really shocking, and I'm actually, as a black woman, I am actually insulted that well, I never liked Coca-Cola anyway, but to think about a company, a very, very successful company, I might even want to say $1 billion company that's Coca-Cola.
Oh wait, way bigger than $1 billion. Way bigger
Really?
than $1 billion.
To
Gosh,
implement this.
That's
They're
for sure.
global. You can buy it in Africa. You can buy it in like the
Oh
most
yeah,
desolate parts of the
they
world.
are.
Like,
they
it's
are.
everywhere.
How to be less
Yeah, you
white?
can.
Tanning bed.
Yes,
Next
I
question.
saw Ethiopia chat.
Oh my God! Final
Oh,
Destination
Coca-Cola
3 was my
Pepsi
favorite
Ethiopia.
movie.
Oh, God.
This right here is very
Okay.
concerning.
Who's going first?
This is very concerning to me, and so I'm gonna go ahead and let and you guys got 2 minutes, and then we'll go to free form and chat. I'll give you. Let me change the description, and I'll give you the link to the tweet. Okay, BJ, go ahead. 2 minutes.
Coke is the huge corporation, and what's happening is millennials are getting older and older into more and more positions of power. Society is getting more and more afraid to speak out, and so when some young millennial talks about this campaign, the higher ups go, "Oh shoot, I don't want to get fired. Yeah, I guess we have to have this campaign in our company to say white people are evil." It's happening all across the corporations of America. Millennials getting older, they're making decisions to keep on getting worse. The American people agree with this. But the media, all these toxic ideas about race come from academia, and they're being unleashed at the worst possible time. I mean, in the past 7 or 8 years, really is when it really has escalated. We had like the lowest racial tensions ever during George Bush years. Back when Dave Chappelle was doing his thing. We don't really have those outlets anymore. For a lot of different reasons, racial tensions are at the highest ever. And this idea coming from academia is that being white is somehow different than any other race. Like they lowercase white, but capital B for black, capital O for other. It's ridiculous because they think being white's different. And then if you push the leftists and say, oh, no, it's not about the race being white. It's about the idea of whiteness. And if you're white, you hold this whiteness, which is itself is racist. And I think in the Coke campaign or there's others, they want white people to be less assertive, less confident, and defer to people of color. It's all about control. The media is spinning it. Again, I mentioned the TV show earlier. 10 years ago, you never see these conversations that are happening now.
All right. Next we have go ahead, Katz, your turn. 2 minutes.
So I apparently hate myself, so I actually subscribed to LinkedIn Pay and watched the Robin DiAngelo course as much as I could before I started vomiting and having diarrhea.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to see what the hell everyone was talking about, and I hate. Yeah, never again. So yeah, the course consists largely of people of Robin DiAngelo, who is a crazy crack whore looking woman, talking about how as a white person you have to be you have to de-individualize. You cannot be thought of as an individual. You have to be a collective white person, which is a bad thing. So basically, she's saying you have to be a white supremacist. You say you're not a white supremacist, then you are a white supremacist. And if you are a white supremacist, then you're bad. There's no positive ending to this. It will not change Coca-Cola's marketing for the most part, because Coca-Cola is basically the world's most prolific legal drug. They're sold everywhere.
Good point.
All they're trying to do is create a cult in the most comfy, multi-billion-dollar, almost trillion-dollar office. Like they just like Coca-Cola will never let its image be tainted by this kind of weird wokeness because they want to sell as much Coca-Cola as possible because the only thing standing between them and total global Pepsi. And you know that's
Pepsi.
50-50. I actually like Pepsi, but Coca-Cola
Cherry
is
Pepsi.
everywhere, and they own way more than you think they do. But yeah, this is a dangerous thing. Not so much. It's not going to affect Coke for people, but the idea that these people are trying to take over such powerful multi-global brands is very concerning. The subject matter is incoherent, scary. I mean, I'd be almost less concerned if I found out that Coca-Cola was being sponsored by Bahrain and they were being taught like or being taught like not Bahrain, but what is it they learn in Saudi Arabia that I can't remember the names now, but yeah, I'd be almost less concerned about them being converted to Islam and learning about like Islamic fundamentalism because this is the woke and it's dangerous.
All right, Jupiter.
You talking about Wahhabism?
Beat it.
Thank you. I love you.
Well, I mean, to highlight Coke's fucking global dominance, there was an ad that was like, or a story rather, that said, Coke delivers 10,000 bottles of water to people in Texas, and you know they have a picture, and it's Dasani, and it gives you an idea of just how fucking much Coke owns that you never really think about. What pisses me off is that I was what's that?
Sorry, I said all the brands on screen with you. Sorry.
Right, exactly. And I grew up in a Coke family. We were anti-Pepsi, love Coke. It's like they ruin everything. Woke capitalism ruins everything. Like Disney. Walt Disney was a bad motherfucker. Coke used to be an amazing American company. They did amazing things for this country, and they ruin everything. But I just want to highlight something about that. I took a screenshot here. So there was a tweet that said, you've never studied genetics, crime, nor history, it would seem. White people slaughtered Native Americans, most serial killers are white, and most child abusers are married family guys. Okay? Fine tweet. Then there was a tweet mirroring this. It was a quote tweet that said, American Indians slaughtered American Indians. Blacks are more likely to be serial killers per capita than whites are. The safest parent for a child to be with is their biological father. You've neither studied genetics, blah, blah, blah. That guy's permanently banned from...
Whoa, really?
True. Well, I think when you said though, black people are more likely to be serial killers, I think you mean mass murders in terms of like.
No.
And
He
yes,
just
I agree.
mirrored the same thing that the person said, but when
capita.
you change it from white to
Right.
black, that's when.
Oh, okay, I see the point now.
Yeah.
And
I think
so
that
it
would be
was the same exact tweet, just mirrored. And that's what we're dealing with. And the whole Coke thing, if I was to tell people, be less black, be less Asian, be less this, it would be, I would be on, there was a black family, super fucking social justice, psychotic black couple that just adopted a white child, braided their hair so tight their head squeezed, and then beat her to death. And I bet most people in the chat and most people I'm talking to don't know this.
I know it because I showed it.
I feel like I've heard about this.
I watched it.
It's that fat battle axe that was on the fucking worst cooks of all.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
I watched your episode and it was fantastic, by the way.
Oh,
but my
thank
point
you.
is that would be on every screen in America, on every Coca-Cola commercial, like George Floyd, if the races were reversed. Just remember that word. If the races were reversed. And this fucking proves it. Those two tweets. It's just so blatant.
You went
sorry.
past your time. I forgot.
tired.
I wasn't even paying
It's
attention.
annoying to talk about. It's annoying to talk about because we all know this already, and so like we show examples. And it's like again and again. We're never going to break through to the other side of things. I mean, look at something simple like if you ask an Asian person where they're from, that's violently offensive. But saying be less white, mainstream corporate America.
Bingo.
It's funny though that white liberals get pissed off more at that than anybody else. Like if you ask
Trip,
an
this is
Asian
your 2 minutes,
person
so
where
go
they're
ahead.
from-
Continue.
Oh, okay, cool. I've seen implicit bias trainings ruin companies that I've loved. and they had the noblest of intentions when they started. But I've also seen the director of the company sit out because he saw it at the corporate level, and he said it made people more racist. And I looked into it, and guess what? The data hashes it out. You cannot quantify bias. It's impossible to do. You can't. Other than personality tests, you can't quantify bias. And the personality tests don't even really hash out what implicit bias is because it's actually reported. So it's something that's not implicit. Here's the kicker. So if you bring it into the workplace, people don't much like being called racist. So when you say that, oh, you're actually all different and some of you are worse than others, it makes people upset and they hold resentment against the place of work and each other. And that's not good for any business model, right? I've seen it ruin places, and then COVID flattened it out. After that, it was pretty much done. We'll see if it recovers. But they're doing this in schools, and they're doing it in private schools too. And very few people are willing to speak up about it unless they do it anonymously, like I did, because I want to, you know, keep my job. But the problem is more than just people trying to do the right thing and missing the mark. It's a bunch of race hustlers trying to make money. The Robin DiAngelos, the Ibram X. Kendis of the world, who actually advocate for racism. They're making money from racism, and we've completely forgotten
of money
in the last 60 years. Right? We didn't have to live through this. Tree, you saw it more than we did because you're a little older than I am. But like when I was born, it wasn't a problem. Half of my family's black. My little brother's Korean. The girl I'm dating now.
It was no problem for me either.
The girl before that I dated was a black girl. It was not a problem for us. It didn't matter.
You got the whole spread.
Yeah. Well,
it's trust me, it wasn't white people I had to worry about growing up in the hood. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Trip.
Bree, you are a white supremacist.
Hang on.
Wait. Oh, sorry.
So my point is this, and my girlfriend said this to me today. We were talking in the car about the inherent bias trainings, and she was saying it seems like when you're swerving out of control on ice in your car and you try to swerve to overcorrect, it seems like an overcorrecting of a problem that we actually had. And when we actually did have a racism problem in this country for quite a long time, it seems like, and I've had people tell me this to my face, like leftists, friends of mine that are leftists. I said, why do you want, it seems like you're just getting back at people. It seems like revenge. And they said, yes, it is. We are getting even. And this was a white liberal who told me this too. It's about getting even. He said that.
Okay.
A person that I respect said
Trip,
that to me. I was
real
appalled.
quick, Tree, I'm
Atrocious.
sorry, but Trip, that is so fucking spot on. And one thing what you said about the race hustlers, Robin DiAngelo went to a conference on race and racial justice, and she was paid, I think 25.
Oh wow.
It was 25 times more than the black woman.
Oh yeah.
Also, that was speaking at the same conference. Yeah, casual racism, the Chappelle Show, and all that. We used to have casual racism, fun, jag each other, and it was so much better. We all loved each other. If we could jag.
However, you could also say, and here's the left argument of this, and I will make this argument as well. Well, I don't think I'll make the argument, but I can understand where the argument comes from. Chappelle is not a white dude saying the things he said, but he was making fun of racism, which was a good thing. His first episode was about a black Klansman. He was making fun of the idea of racism.
Wow.
Reverse racism. And
when he went away, that was coincidentally when all this stuff started really escalating, because we need some sort of outlet. Like again, America is the only country in the world that's this diverse. It's an experiment.
Social media,
and we're going to fail without the right outlets.
Well, that's
as well. It's the same time. You're right. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
All right, hold on. Let's get Archer and Rafiq, Archer, and then Felix. Archer, go ahead.
All right, so I'll disclose the fact that I am a shareholder of the Coca-Cola company.
But not GME.
No, yeah, Coca-Cola
Stop
has great dividends.
Go
Solid
ahead.
company.
Okay. People have dividends.
Y'all
I'm
leave
so dry
Archer
right
alone.
now.
Why are y'all talking
too.
over Archer?
Fuck up. All right, listen. This shit is just pretty cringe. Telling people to be less white it's just pretty cringe behavior, and like I mean, to like be that much of a cuck to think that like how white you are, like to the fact that we're training people to be less white, and for those people who are going along with it, I think you're a fucking cuck. I don't think you're actually thinking about shit. And I think it's pretty cringe for the people who are trying to parade this around like it's actual, like this is actual science, or this is something that's actually correct. I think one of the, if not that guy, someone else who came up in the news recently, who came up with like the 7 or the different types of whiteness that exists here in America, was a black dude. So I find it amazing how the different types of like whitenesses there are is created by a black person. Because like if a white person was to be like, oh, here's the 7 types of blackness. Oh, you'd be fucking dead. All right, but yeah, this is all pretty cringe. It's corporate diversity. I don't agree with it, but fuck, Coca-Cola gives a great dividend as all companies. So.
Pepsi tastes better, so it has
Alright.
my money.
Rafiq,
Oh, it's a bad opinion.
Rafiq, go ahead.
Pepsi never told me to remove my whiteness.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't trust. By the way, don't trust any of these people. Just fuck them all.
All corporations are evil.
Pepsi's gonna go the next step over and say, white people, don't drink our soda.
Yeah, exactly.
Commercial. Wait. Pepsi got that fucking commercial.
Shut up, Rafiq. Stop being racist. Rafiq, go ahead.
Ben Shapiro on decaf is racist to Rafiq.
Rafiq, do you see these white boys interrupting your black speech? I swear they're just taking your black voice against you. Okay.
Yeah.
I have Donald Trump right here. Look, orange power.
Go ahead, Rafiq.
I don't know. This whole thing. I don't know. I'm gonna take a different position. First, I would think it was like karma for all the years of like, how white is great and how, the people of color, like, they felt inferior to whiteness because I was in Ethiopia. They have like the most pride about all African countries because they were not colonized. While other African countries still have this like mentality, this mentality that white is better. So I look at it from that way, but then also look at how, I'm sure you heard the term cultural Marxism, or how, this whole like leftist agenda was able to seep in America through the underclass of the poor, blacks, gays or whatever. So, and now it's just gotten to the point of just ridiculousness that I would like to stop, but that's going to have to start when white people start, loving themselves. I mean, we wouldn't have a Western civilization if it wasn't for European culture.
Preach.
I mean, all races have contributed good things and bad things.
Can I ask, Rafiq, can I ask you a question? You say that white people need to step up and start loving themselves. Do you think that there's, and I don't want to do like a race-based responsibility argument here, but don't you think there's something that, and the term black community is weird already, but do you think there's something the black community has to do about this problem as well?
No, it's not up to the black community to get you guys to love each other. Black people already hate themselves, okay?
No, I'm not talking about loving each other. I'm talking about wokeism in general.
No, because no. Hold on. I can answer this question.
White people's fear.
Here's the deal. Who's in charge of the shit that's canceling everybody but white people? Black people are not in charge of nothing. Black people don't own Disney. Black people don't own Twitter. Black people don't own Facebook. Black people don't own any of these things. White people own them.
Fantastic answer.
Isn't Facebook owned by a lizard?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just
Sorry. Go ahead, Rafiq.
Because you have to look at the truth in history. It's like, I mean, like whites were all bad. I mean, that's not the case. I mean, like Africa had slavery. There was, slavery in the Arab world was soon.
Hell, Africa started slavery.
It came along late in the game.
It's still happening today. There are slave markets today.
Well, that's by the Arabs, though. But that's Arabs doing that. Arabs have got the slaves now.
More slavery right now in Africa and the Middle East than all the transatlantic American, British, Western slave labor ever.
But that doesn't matter because it's not by white Europeans. That's the thing. It's not by.
Yeah, because it's like that whites are all bad, and and not every Native American tribe was all like have noble and and just all great. They were warring with each other, and what the Aztecs were doing before Cortez got there, they
Thousands
were
of
doing
years.
human sacrifices. So this is like
They stole pyramids.
Rafik, you saw this. Rafik, some guy goes, we need to just put all white cis males on a boat and send them out to sea. And someone responds and goes, oh, and then you'll all complain when we take over whatever continent we land on.
I just want to be on that boat. I just want to be on that boat with all the white cis males.
To get out of California.
And you ain't getting no ass with those cis males, cats.
Hold on, y'all. We gotta be fair to Felix. Hold on. Let me let Felix do his 2 minutes, and then let me let Felix do his last 2 minutes. Huh?
I don't think I finished yet. I haven't.
Oh, I'm
finished
sorry,
yet, I don't think.
Rafik. How dare I? Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, that's
Tree,
all right.
I as a black woman, am trying to suppress the black man, and I need
You're
to stop.
being a self-hating black woman. Tree.
Go ahead, Rafik. I'm sorry.
Check your privilege, Tree.
Go
Seriously.
ahead, Rafik. I'm sorry.
Abolish your blackness, please.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
folks
Rafik.
just have to just get over. I mean, for whites just to get over this white guilt and shame. It's not them. It's like they shouldn't feel guilty for what like some of their ancestors have done. So, but now, I mean, I would use it to my advantage because with some freaking COVID Karens to be self-righteous and ask me where's my mask, I could just like, how dare you assert your white privilege on me by telling me as a black man what to do.
Yep.
So I'll just use it. For
And
my
it works
advantage.
every time.
Put them in their place.
Yes, and and these other folks I've heard, I guess they're the new race hustlers. I just know Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. I guess it's the new generation of race hustlers, grifters, all that stuff. So people have to stop supporting. Go ahead, I'm done.
Okay, Felix. Let me say Felix, and then everybody else can jump in because I got a question, and then after Felix, to get another conversation rolling in reference to this. Go ahead, Felix.
I can't believe that we have to have it pointed out to us that corporations are evil and do not have our best interests at heart. Mind-boggling fucking information, but guess what? Coca-Cola doesn't give a shit about you past your wallet. But have you ever noticed that the people... Yeah, that's true. Have you ever noticed that the people like in a group are the ones that hate themselves the most? Like, white people are the ones that end up vehemently hating white people the most. Like, all those people on Twitter that say white people are evil, you got, like, a lot of people who are people of color, as they like to so eloquently say. But, like, 99% of those are white girls on Twitter.
I know.
Who never stood up for anything in their lives except for Blackout Tuesday.
Right.
So here's my question to all of you. Now that you've seen how Coca-Cola is, do you all know all of the Coca-Cola products?
No.
Right.
No one does.
There's
like 300.
water.
Diet Coke, Coca-Cola Zero, Fanta, Sprite, Minute Maid, Georgia Powerade, Del Val,
Insulin, Advil,
Minute Maid, Dasani, Simply, vitamin water.
What? They really the vitamin water too? I didn't know that.
Everything.
Oh, sorry, no.
Municipal water.
Okay, no, okay, that wasn't. I didn't think so. So which one of you guys will refuse? Because I don't deal with any of their products, including Dasani water, because I deal with distilled water.
Drinking soda at all, people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't deal with any of their products.
Soda has absolutely zero benefit to your body. Don't drink soda at all, regardless of how woke or conservative they are.
It tastes so good, though. It tastes so good. It's like an orgasm in your mouth.
Vodka and Coca-Cola does not make
Tree, your chat's going to like this one coming from me. But the only thing soda is good for is a nice, good chaser or a mixer.
Yes,
that's actually facts, though.
Or
every time I drink soda.
The minute Coca-Cola starts making vodka, I might have a chance of buying it, but I don't drink water or many other beverages. It's basically vodka, sushi, and they don't make those two things.
So Coke and vodka are the only two things you guys. The only things you guys drink.
No, I do not do.
I can't drink vodka.
That's municipal water. I hear Dasani's municipal. Coke and
Dasani's gross.
Dasani has found to have particles and impurities in them, so don't ever drink Dasani water.
BJ knows.
What did you say? What did you say, Cats?
racial impurities in Dasani? Is that
Huh?
what you're saying?
Yeah, they are. This
No,
is
you think
There
Yeah,
better
So
not
not
be any
racial.
white
there are racial impurities?
no,
in
no,
Dasani?
not racial
I'm not sure I'm
impurities.
okay with
There
that.
have been contaminants inside the water.
Oh, oh.
There
It's
better
it's
not be any whiteness in there.
it's not so here's the deal. When when do they have this slang called when black people all do one thing at together in unity, they call it being on code. What will white people do to be on code and to fight against being objectified for being, not objectified, being falsely accused of being white supremacists and racist because of your skin color? That's crazy. Like I just couldn't even relate
Make
to
it a
something like that.
financially
They're gonna
available option.
apologize.
Tree,
And then you got-
No.
Nothing to be done.
that if white people do something together, it will be perceived as like a
That's
white
it.
people doing something together, which is
Why do
wrong-
you guys
wrong
care
by
though?
today's
So
2021 standards.
I don't understand
do
why
I-
y'all
why do I
care.
about what?
It's not that all
if
of us
my
do,
cat-
but white people will cancel other white people faster than anything else.
Then why don't
Isn't it
y'all
funny
deal
how
with
white
exactly?
people
This
are
is so
so-
true. Then why don't y'all go after those white people?
There's
Isn't
no
it funny
white
how
groups
white
to
people
talk
are
about.
actually
We
like
can't go
quite
network
diverse
amongst
in
each
their
other.
thinking, but everyone thinks of them as a monolith? Isn't it funny how people think of every race because of what they look like as a monolith?
No, no,
Even
no,
though that
no.
people from
We
every
know the
background-
white people who are
Presidents think
counseling
every race-
other white people, and we know what ideology they hold. So
It
like,
works. It works.
Judaism.
It scares people.
But
out
you
of their
wait, but
fucking
Tree,
pants.
you're preaching to the choir here though, because like I would say we all to an extent, like we all do that. Like it's and like
What do you mean?
there
when you
has
say
to be a
Don't
better
put
way
me
of
in
doing
with
this.
any
shit.
we that you're involved in.
Oh, go get out of here! Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
wait.
But listen,
A better way of doing what?
of
Archer.
going against this whiteness bullshit.
See, me and Rafik are in a different class. I do this shit on Twitter all the time. When I got my, because I don't have to worry about this on Minds. All right, but when white liberals come after me, and on my top pinned tweet is something to the. Actually, let me read my top pinned tweet, and it pisses off white liberals so much. My pinned tweet on my Twitter says, "Liberal logic. They want healthy people to wear a mask. I have never wore a mask and never gotten sick. But I guess this guy who's responding to me wears a condom on his small ding-a-ling all day and every day, even though he's a fucking virgin." All right. So when somebody like, shut the fuck up and wear a mask, I like, make me, bitch. I'm not going to listen to your racism. You cannot tell me as a black person what to do. I'm not your slave. They shut up. I shut them down. I have yet, and if you look at my Twitter history, that's all I do. Whenever these white liberals come and tell me you need to wear a mask, make me. You ain't my master. Every time I go after them like this, it shuts them down. But me and Rafik
you're like the goose that laid the golden egg. Okay,
You just
White people
because
don't
like
take
to these white
There has to
white
be a-
liberals,
there
you're
has to
like
be a
the
way you
fucking
guys
golden eye
too
gun.
on. Okay, that's true. Like I said, me and
Can I
Rafik. Hold on, what's your answer for? Who said that? Can I answer?
Me.
What's your answer for?
Well,
for
white
Alex?
people as a general, well, at least in America, as a general collective, at least right now, they really value social harmony, in quotes, whatever that fucking term means, and they don't like rocking the boat. And they see attacking anyone who's not white as rocking the boat because it goes against what the rest of society, aka everyone who's not
They can
white
also
or Asian,
lose their
thinks.
job and their friendships.
Yeah, like
No
it's kind of
consequences.
hard to be. It's kind of hard to be like to go against these people who are like pro cancel culture because they'll just be like, "Oh, I know your work, tee now you don't have a job. Have fun waiting in line for food stamps."
And they let. And,
Nope.
It sounds like
Winky
Alex.
face.
Sounds like someone needs to cancel their whiteness. Number one.
Yeah,
Not
you.
apologize. No, but it's true. It's Tree. I love you to death, but you don't get it. It's so easy to say for someone in the labor market that's white to speak out against this shit, but a lot of people have families and they can't. And it's not as easy as saying, well, they all need to stand up. Number one, white liberals are literally the only group of any race that prefer outside groups. Every other race has in group preference.
In
meaning,
their surveys, but not in practice, because white liberals love themselves more than anything.
They don't.
They
don't prefer these
they want to be in their nice neighborhoods amongst each other, but they'll say, "I prefer other people."
Right.
Yeah,
right.
This is true.
Outside their window, they complain about
that
it on
is
Twitter.
so profoundly correct. That
Go
is
ahead,
so
Cats.
profoundly correct.
Not coming to the hood.
I have I'm going to start calling like conservatives should. That's going to be my segment now, like on any show. But conservatives should really consider putting some sort of job protection clause where, like, if your job is being canceled because of something that has nothing to do with what you actually have done on your job, but something that has to do with like an outrage mob or something like that, the companies will get in more trouble for getting rid of keeping you. Because we can't say that companies have to keep controversial people, but we have to say that, like, you have to have a good reason to get rid of someone. And if that reason is just, well, people were angry on Twitter and Facebook, then you should get in trouble for that. We have to give the companies a reason to have balls.
Are you
because
saying that
right now,
political ideology should be a protected class, just like sex and race?
yes,
That's very narrow in how they do
Fuck
it.
yeah.
Well,
So what you're calling? Are you calling for more regulation? That would be more regulation.
I don't think for more regulation.
Wait, you're asking for the state to come in.
Oh boy.
I don't think it's like more regulation. I think that's for saying that people should be allowed to say. That's just enforcing what's already in the Constitution, which is that people allowed to express themselves without being punished.
Yeah, but
the
employee and the employer enter into a contract. That's much different.
Can I jump in? Archer, let me jump in. Archer, so you're saying the Civil Rights Act shouldn't be a thing then, because that's the government jumping in?
No, that's not my argument.
Well, so what's the difference then?
Of course it isn't.
Well, what do you mean, what's the difference?
The difference between a political ideology.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so okay.
Why it's important here.
If I'm an employer and I have an employee who's posting a bunch of communist shit and it's affecting my business as a result, I should have the right to fire that person.
You made but you misconstrued it. You post these political opinions, it doesn't necessarily have to hurt the business, right? If you're posting these opinions, can you fire for someone and say, "Hey, I don't like your opinions outside of work"?
Right, but aren't you saying what if it does?
If it does, it's a different story, right?
Yeah.
If you're racist,
in those correct me if I'm wrong, but in those scenarios, it does end up hurting the business because those tweets or those things become viral and it comes out to a broader audience than just like a couple people in like the break room.
You're afraid to speak up, like even when you're in work, right? So I have a lot of friends who work in corporate America who go and they have these diversity trainings, right? They're afraid to speak out during it, right? Because they might get fired. That has nothing to do with the outside world, the perception of business, but they're afraid for a good reason that can create a hubbub inside the business itself. And so here's the thing: is like if you're talking about firing someone with some race, gender, or their political beliefs outside of work, it has nothing to do with the actual business running. That should be regulated. And as conservatives, we're so afraid to say, "Oh, well, regulations should have no government." No, the government should enforce the things that are in the Constitution, right? And that is setting that level playing fields.
But that's not in the Constitution, though.
Archer, it's not. Hold on.
Well, freedom of speech is, and the right to, I forgot that.
Yeah, but that's enforcing contracts, isn't it?
Archer, wait.
What?
This isn't a conversation about your employer. Like, let's say you work at a laundromat and your employer gets these reviews that you're posting Nazi shit online or some communist shit online and you get fired. The problem is, the reason we need regulation, your type of
sounded like a liberal.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Your type of conservatism has landed us squarely in a position that we have lost every single institution, and they say, "Well, make your own free speech platform." We do that. Amazon, Apple, Google, they all take it off. They say, "Okay, well, that's the free market." No, it isn't. If you were really a conservative and believed in free markets, you would understand that your opponent is playing football against you where they're allowed to run out of bounds, pass, interfere, and you're allowed to do nothing.
Archer, if you could answer the question.
If you really wanted to, wait, last thing, BJ, I'm sorry. If you really wanted to conserve something, you would put some protection in place where we weren't just allowed to be thrown out of everything. Pretty soon, there's going to be nowhere left for even someone like you to go. Even someone a little left of center.
If I can answer a question, because Archie, you didn't answer my question earlier. I asked, what's the difference? Yeah. You're saying, you're laughing at regulation. Regulation's not like a liberal. Why is it okay to regulate when it comes to Civil Rights Act, but not when it comes to political ideology? Because
the Civil Rights Act is based off of characteristics that are beyond your own processing.
I understand that's the common response is, but that doesn't make any sense, because why is that important? Why is immutable characteristics different than your political ideology? You're saying
because that's what you were born with.
Why should I have to?
Well, that's what you were born with. You had no choice. You had no choice in that matter. You had a choice. You had like. Okay, let me answer. I will answer. Okay, because if you are born white, you're born white. You don't get the choice. You don't to get the choice to say beforehand. All right, in this life, I'm gonna be a white male. Okay. In addition to that,
it's not consistent.
Don't say in addition. Why does that matter? What if you're born with it versus if you have it now? You're saying to me, you're considered that
because the state should protect characteristics that you had no choice in them in that choice.
It should protect your freedom.
But no. In those scenarios, those people are like, if I get fired from my job from saying the stuff that I said on this debate, right? That's my fault. Because I chose to say the thing that I am saying.
You want to live in that country where I chose to speak my mind, so of course I'm going to get fired.
Archer. No. Are you talking about what we ought to do, or are we talking about what we ought to do, or what are we legislating?
Because I'm curious, why is it different from being black or being a woman than having a certain political belief? My political belief is not going to change, and why should I have to change in order to keep a job?
Okay, because if I'm an employer and I'm contracting someone out to do work for me, and this guy is let's say he's an actual fascist, loves fucking Hitler. Okay, hold on. I don't get the right to say I don't want you working for my company. The state, are we really going to say that the state is going to come in and say no, you can't do that?
Archer, one last question. I'm going to give you the exact same example. What if I'm an employer? I don't like black people. Shouldn't I have the right to say I don't want you guys working for me?
Absolutely not, because that was something you were born with. You chose that person chose to be a fascist.
You keep saying border. One second. You keep saying.
Hold on, stop. Yeah, let BJ. I want BJ to respond back to Archer, and then we'll go around the room. Go ahead, BJ.
Because he says no, and he goes back to the same old line. I'm asking, why does it make sense? Why does it matter? Oh, you're born with it. See, if you develop it, you can discriminate based on that. But if you're born with it, you can't. There's no distinction. You haven't given me when you keep going back.
I'm giving you the distinction. The distinction is the conscious decision to believe in the things that you do. If you are an actual fascist, you believe the shit that you do, that I, as an employer, should not I should be allowed to end the contract. Why? Because I'm not going to give fucking capital to you. Fuck you. If you're an actual communist calling for the revolution in the United States of America, I am not going to keep giving you capital.
You keep saying that. But then why can I not fire someone for being black and fire them for being a fascist? Why can I discriminate on one, not the other?
Because one is a decision, one is not a decision.
Okay. Jupiter, Rafik, and the Trip. Okay, holistic. Also, cats. I'm sorry. Stop. Okay, here's the order: Jupiter, Cats, Rafik, and then Trip. And then we'll go back to BJ, and if he want to go back on what he was saying with Archer, go ahead. In that order.
The principle that Archer is arguing against BJ is called freedom of association. That's what Archer is arguing, that yes, I have freedom of association unless it's an immutable characteristic. people can one day become trans, okay? 30 years down the road. In Archer's world, I'm allowed to fire them. Freedom of association, the principled stance of freedom of association means I can fire someone in a free market on any characteristic, immutable or not. Archer, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. The fact that my pigment is different than someone else and I can't fire you for that doesn't make sense. You shouldn't be able to fire someone unless it's directly affecting your business. That's the only principled free market stance.
So wait, a black business owner can't fire a fucking Klansman? Seriously, if a black business owner had a fucking a Klansman walk into their business or come in one day and say, "Yeah, I'm actually a white supremacist, but fuck you, you can't fire me. It's not affecting my work." You've now regulated. You've now made regulations. You've made regulations where the person can't fire them. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in that world.
Archer, stop. Stop saying the same thing. To answer your question, in that case, that's a little bit different story because you can say, as an employer, I don't like the fact that you hate me. That's different than saying, their ideology is not affecting the race. If their ideology is that you love pickles, you worship pickles, I don't think religion is protected with civil rights. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I made a mistake there.
Yeah.
So let's say some other crazy
What if you're
belief.
doing it at work?
Then that affects Trip. Trip will actually understand this. That actually affects the business.
Yeah.
The only real thing is if it affects your business. Then if I'm posting Nazi shit online, okay, and I'm having Nazi rallies outside the business, or I walk in full regalia with the Hail Hitler shit, fine, that affects the business.
What
if you walk in and tell me,
about it?
Okay,
if you walk in
person yelps about it though.
Hold on, Trip. Your
then
turn is
that
almost
affects
coming.
the
Hold on.
People yelp about a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay. Cats.
Archer yelps about a lot of things.
Cats, and then
And
Rafik, and then
I still
Trip.
love him.
I just want to say something that I've been thinking about for a couple of sessions now, like based on our gatherings, whether it's through Guinness or in this particular case through Archer. Let's all, as conservatives, agree that if you're conservative, you can't believe in religion memes is dead. If you're conservative, that doesn't mean that you believe in neoliberalism and that you want all work to just be exploited, whatever contract. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
You're cutting out.
Can you hear me now?
You're cutting out.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
If you are conservative, that does not mean that you believe in the no regulations, laissez-faire.
Okay. Now you're cutting out.
The meme. It is dead. I'm really tired.
Shit.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Yeah, every couple of seconds.
Every second you're going real good, and then all of a sudden it'll cut out for like 1 second. But go ahead.
Conservatives believe in regulations. Good regulations, not unnecessary
Hold on, Archer.
regulations. This idea that if you're conservative and you believe something needs to be regulated, that is a stupid like false flag campaign that either liberals or rhinos believe in. Conservatives believe in regulations, don't believe in unnecessary regulations.
Bingo.
And it's
Okay, wait.
Stop.
I legit.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I've been on debate panels before.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Archer. Hold on,
racist.
Archer. Cats,
It's
did you
Rafik's
finish
turn,
making
you
your point?
racist.
Did you finish making your point, Cats?
that was it.
Okay, go ahead,
That was it.
Archer.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I've legit made this
Archer hates
point
black
on
people
fucking.
and
I've legit made this point on on previous shows, and I got fucking rained by all of you. But like for saying that there is like regulation, there should be some sort of regulation. So like I really doubt. This is becoming conservative.
No,
litmus
Jupiter,
test.
let him
Like,
finish.
There is this.
Let him
This
finish.
litmus test that's now. There's litmus tests that are now going on in conservative circles where, like, I'm getting kicked out, and like, I'm getting sick of this shit. Because, I remember fucking 4 years ago, people bitching about the fucking left doing this shit, where they had the fucking litmus test, and they were, whatever.
You just saw the regulation. I don't know why we're saying that to you.
I've made
regulation
these
horrible.
like I'm like
Absolutely.
all right, I'll drop it.
I have a question for you, Archer. Okay, to go on our point from before, right? When it comes to homosexuality, your employer is not going to know if you're gay just by looking at you. And so in order for them to know, that's been some sort of action taken. They see you making out the dude. You tell them, they hear from someone, right? Should the employer be able to discriminate against gay people?
Absolutely.
I'm asking Archer.
I have a question.
Because I really want to know. I want to ask Archer.
Let Archer talk. Let BJ ask Archer a question. Stop answering for him. Let him talk. Go ahead, Archer.
No, I was making fun of cats.
Okay, no,
I don't think you ought to. I don't think you ought to. I mean, okay, if you're okay, I think there has to be nuance to this.
Got him.
If you're a member of like if you're like in a church, right, and you're an evangelical church, right, and you like in those scenarios where like the organization, it's
not a business. That's
what
not a
does
business.
this have to do with
okay. What are you talking about in a business? You're talking strictly business. Because you said discriminate.
I like that.
Okay, repeat the question.
Should you be able to discriminate against a gay person? It's simple. You're stalling.
Should you? No, I don't think you ought to. And I don't think the law should allow you to.
Shut up. Jupiter, shut up for 1 second. Archer, why should the law?
Because I think if you're going out of your way to discriminate against a gay person, I just think you're a shitty person.
But
how about
Archer, what about political ideology? You don't think you're a shitty person?
Well, I'm sure I'm a shitty person. I'm incredibly imperfect. Everyone's imperfect.
You said, but it just takes some sort of action. Well, if you're gay, you can't tell just by looking at your face. You have to take some sort of action for them to know about it. So if that's your standard, then you should be able to discriminate against them. I'm asking what the standards are. Because again, I don't think there's really a big distinction between all these things. You do. You have to defend that.
Okay, what is the legislation you're trying to make? Because to refer this back to the original context of it, this was trying to add regulation so that a business cannot fire an individual. Okay, if I am a business owner, I should be allowed to end contracts and not have the state come in when it comes to decisions that were made by my employees that were made by their own free will and conscious decision.
So me coming out as being gay, that's a decision that my employer can get hold of. I'm asking you that question because you're not going to know from looking at someone. You haven't answered this. So, but that's still something, a decision you can make that should not be discriminated against, but other decisions are okay. I'm not saying being gay is a decision. I'm saying being out and being gay is a decision.
Okay, what's the point here? We shouldn't foster.
I'm asking you what the fuck is the difference, because you're saying it's based on the decisions they make. And if you're gay, you have to express that in some way for them to know about it. And so, according to you, if it's based on a conscious decision, they should discriminate against that person.
No, you shouldn't. You ought not to.
Where do you put the line?
You keep saying ought, but you're not saying you can't.
I know. You're dancing around this.
And not is a.
I would have the state not allow you to discriminate against that individual.
But I'm asking what the standard. Archer, you said the standard before was that it has to be a conscious decision. So if they hear something, because political ideology, right? You have to be able to. You don't know what's in my mind. You have to hear me say something about it. But when it comes to being gay, again, I'm not saying being gay is a decision, but I'm saying the coming out is for your employer to know that it is. And according to you, that's a decision that cannot be discriminated against. But political ideology is a decision that you could discriminate against. I'm asking why. I've asked it 10 times already. You haven't answered the question.
So,
I'm
going to let you guys wrap it up, and then we're going to move on to something else.
Fucking goalposts to different fucking locations. We started at the original context of this, and you fucking moved the goalposts backwards so many fucking times.
I'm asking what your standard is, Archer. That's what your standard is.
Can I try rephrasing it? Can I try rephrasing?
Go ahead. Hold on. Go ahead, Cass.
So disingenuous.
No, hold on, Archer.
Holy shit.
Hold on. I think Cass is going to reframe it better. Go ahead, Cass.
As a gay and a conservative, let me see if I can bridge the gap and phrase this. I think what Bearju is asking, where do you draw the line between expressing yourself as something that you are, like say being a gay person, and something that you believe? like whatever your politics are. What is the dividing line, the fine point that a business has to draw between you expressing who you are and what you believe? Is that right, Bear Jew?
More or
Are
less.
people born Nazis? Are people born Nazis? Are people born Klansmen?
You keep jumping
Is
back
that
to
it's a,
born now, but what does it
okay?
mean
And
born?
then I literally asked a question to fucking get closer to the point they're trying to ask me, and you divert every time. So
people
like I think this is a little
Nazis?
disingenuous.
Archer, I keep
I just
asking
mean
you keep jumping back to you're born. I'm asking why does that matter? You're going because when you're born. You can't change it. You're born. Why does that matter when it comes to discrimination? I'm asking
Because you had no if I'm born a particular way, I had no choice in that matter. I had no decision. Like there was nothing that was involved in my conscious decision making that affected that. If I chose to be a Nazi or I chose to be a Klansman, that was my personal decision making.
How about you chose to come out to your employer?
Can I try this another way?
Right? Is that fireable?
One last time.
Okay, go ahead.
No, that shouldn't be that should be fireable because you were born that way.
All right, one last time. Okay, one last time. One last time, Cass. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Cass is kind of a professional.
I'm not trying to bully you guys. I'm just hoping I can bridge this gap. So let me put this another way. Archer, I'm a gay conservative. Say I work for a gay community center. Should they be able to fire me because I don't agree with their politics online? I'm still gay. I'm performing my job at the gay community center.
Yeah.
But I'm a Republican. Should they be able to fire me because I say I support Trump? Not because I say I hate black people or I want to kill people, but should they be able to fire me just because I work at the gay community center and I disagree with the politics of some of the people at the gay community center?
Is it publicly owned or privately owned?
It's privately owned.
Private, yeah. I think they ought not to, but they legislatively, yeah, they should be.
I have a question. So
Go ahead,
Rafiq.
Rafiq.
Straight community center.
Hold on, hold on. Rafiq, go ahead and do a trip.
So, conservative Christian bakers should be forced to bake a cake for a gay couple when they get married.
No. Because in that decision, that's another contract that's being made.
Bullshit.
Shut up, Jupiter. You don't know fucking shit.
Not actually what happened.
Archer, you're
situation
why
was
we've
about a
lost
message put on the cake.
everything.
Hold on. The situation that Rafiq's talking about is not about baking a cake. It was a bunch of people trying to go out and find a person that wouldn't write a message related to a gay wedding on a cake. It was about a message. Is that compelled speech or not? And that's the debate. It's not about baking a cake or not. It's not about refusing service. It's about firing someone at work. Can you fire somebody for being black? Can you fire somebody for being white? I don't know. Can you? Archer seems like he's saying that you should be able to fire somebody for anything if it affects your business. Am I getting that part right,
No,
Archer?
that's not what he's saying.
Yes, but it comes down to the contract. It comes down. Okay, my point is the contract. It's the contract that is being made. Would you, if someone doesn't want to enter into a contract because of it's a gay wedding, they don't believe in they don't want to support gay marriage. They have the right not to enter into the contract and not to have the state force them into entering a contract with that individual. Just like the employer. No, it's not semantic. This is all about contracts and who we're going into business.
Wait, Archer, but you said, but there's no contract that says that they can fire you for being gay. So you basically said they should not fire you for being gay. Right, but no one signs a contract saying
that would be a protected class.
It's actually not.
Well, actually,
it's not a federally protected class. Being gay in some states is, but not federally. Not Civil Rights Acts. Democrats trying to change that. You could join them if you want. Listen, if I can make one point, we just established before that conservatives be able to speak up. And the fact that they can't because there are a lot of fears of being fired, that sort of thing, is one of the biggest issues facing conservatives. Right now, Billy, they came and speak, right? And I'm saying something that would greatly benefit all conservatives, right? And the problem with conservatism is a lot of people like Archer will come along and be like, well, actually, even though that's the biggest problem facing America and facing these conservatives, I have this abstract legal principle that says when you're born with something, and I'm going to stick with that, even if it hurts the whole entire country many times over. This is called a conservative who will say, go their abstract principles and say, no, I will let the whole entire country fall before I give in to my abstract principles. There has to be some sort of utility in what you're saying as well. It's not just about stupid abstract principles.
Go ahead, Archer.
BJ, I agree with you
my
on
God.
some
No,
things,
let Archer
the
defend
fact that you
himself.
just
Hold on,
told me-
Okay, I'm sorry, my brain is still recovering from
let Archer
that.
defend himself.
Hold on,
No,
wait, I have to
no,
say
no,
one thing.
no.
He's not a
No,
conservative, BJ. He's a
no.
fucking
Archer, go ahead
liberal.
and say what you gotta say.
He's a-
Go ahead,
ahead.
Archer. Go ahead, Archer.
You guys are fucking retarded. I don't think you guys know half the shit. You guys act like you
You're
know
corny and
so
you're why
much
we've
shit.
lost
You
everything,
guys,
and I hate
you guys literally will come on one fucking panel and say, oh, conservatives don't believe in this much government. Less regulation. This is what conservatism is. And then you come on this panel, then you say,
It's not
oh no.
absolutist.
This is okay because in this,
No, we
like
said
we're
you
okay
weren't
with
allowed to
this
mandate that we
regulation
all wear
when you
masks and
literally
get
go against what you were saying in
vaccinated.
previous panels, and then call me
never-
conservative. I am
Archer, what are you
okay. I am
talking about?
okay
I
with
never
you
said-
guys coming
I
after
never
me
said
because
regulation
I
is
know at
evil.
the end of the day you guys are literally fucking retarded.
No, Archer.
What a great argument.
Archer, number
Come on,
one,
Archer, it's
fix
pussy
your
shit.
hair and calm down. Stop it. You're okay. Aren't you embarrassed? But
Look you back.
I'm not. I have no shame. I have
Wait,
no
Archer,
shame.
Archer,
I
there's
feel
no shame in your game. You're right, but the way you're presenting this argument for the folks back home, Archer said that we should all be mandated to wear a mask, maybe 2 masks, and all get vaccinated by the federal government.
That's regulation. I thought you were for regulation. I thought you were okay with regulation.
Regulation.
Sensible, reasonable regulation.
Wait a minute.
Not
I'm
regulations out of
sorry. I
paranoia.
never once Tree fact check me. I have never once said that I believe in no regulation. No,
No
I
one
don't
has.
believe. Oh yeah. Okay, Archer. Then you're saying that I believe that there should be no regulation on fucking the government saying I should.
Well, then you're not a conservative. Less regulation.
Archer,
You're calling
you're
for
being-
more.
Archer,
You're
Archer,
literally
you're being
arguing for more
Archer, you're being
regulation.
grimace and annoying.
You
You
were
tried
ju-
to miscast our arguments. Why are you doing that?
Why are you
We're
trying to
not
ask
saying
for
regulation.
more regulation?
Hold on. Hey,
Archer, some
Archer.
regulations good.
Archer, I would like to say that I'm more on the right. I'm further on the right than the rest of everybody on this panel, and I would like to say that I should have the right to fire anybody for their race, religion, their sexual. I don't give a fuck. I should be able to fire them for any fucking reason I want. You know what I'm saying?
Would you fire me because I'm white, Tree?
No, I love white people.
But you think you should be able
But
to?
she wants to be able to do
But
it.
let me just
And,
let me
that's
tell you this.
the
Hold on, but I love black people
That's
too. I
not
don't,
what
I don't
we're
want
saying.
nobody to clip chip me and say, "Oh, she just only love." I love all people. But the thing about it is that if I hire you, Trip, and all of a sudden you've joined the Scientology, I'm gonna bounce you.
It's over, Rover.
What if I told you I was a Scientologist?
Huh?
I'd fire her.
You'd get
I'll
us
fire
killed
you.
and sent
I
to a
would straight
concentration.
up fire you. I would straight up.
I-
But hold on.
if
Let me
you were
finish. Let me finish.
Scientologist,
But
I'd
but
hate
what?
you.
But the conservatives, what they're saying, Archer, is the conservatives are saying they're for less government, and less government does not mean that they don't have any type of regulations. Okay, so that's all I want to say.
And also what we're saying is that. Oh, go ahead, BJ.
I was gonna say conservative belief is not that there should be no regulation. You're making this straw man argument, and it's so weird that it's regulation versus no regulation. Conservatives believe generally that there should be regulation to enforce our natural rights, and so certain regulation is good. Now, there's no absolutism here, right? We can have an argument about, let's say, the social media companies being regulated in a way that's like public utilities because of the vast amount of power they hold, right? When we're thinking about this, you can't just fall back and go, nope, regulation is bad or regulation is good. You have to look at the utility of your actions. And you're casting this dichotomy that no one actually believes.
There's so
I don't know
much
why you're doing
nuance.
that.
There's so much nuance when the argument is towards you guys. By literally, when I was making the mask argument,
didn't like that
you
nuance.
all flipped the fuck out and said you're calling for more regulation. That's not conservatism. That is out of
because
this
it's
debate
what the
panel's
regulation
fucking mouth.
was. It's what the regulation was. What's it
No,
doing?
and none of that nuance was there. None of that nuance
I
was
can
there.
help. Wait.
None of that
Hold
nuance was
on.
there.
I can help. Hold
Yes,
on.
it was.
Wait. I can help this. Because Archer feel attacked. So let me justify what happened, okay? The reason why we all flipped out, Archer. It's because that is a federal regulation that is affecting freedom people. When it's kind of like a different comparison, and if you think it isn't, I'll be glad to hear your rebuttal to this. When I come to a job, that is something that I volunteer to apply for. But if I'm walking around as a healthy person and somebody saying what the federal government by order of Joe Biden states that I got to wear a mask, I got a problem with that because I did not put myself in a situation where I should be forced to wear a mask as a healthy individual. But when I apply for a job, I should be able to understand that there's going to be some consequences and repercussions along with some benefits that are going to come in with that job. And if I am fired, now, by the way, I am okay. This is where I'm different with everybody else. I don't like that people are being fired for being conservatives, but I'm telling you as a right winger, I like it because it's going to force conservatives to get their own stuff, to get their own businesses, to get their own social media.
Hopeful.
But Tree,
Well,
can I ask you
Well, that's a way of
question?
thinking about
Hey,
it.
Tree, you're a liberal.
That's a new
Tree, hey,
Want to
Tree,
live?
Tree,
Go
I'm
ahead,
not as
go
smart
ahead.
as you. I'm not as smart as you, but can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How can we, as conservatives, conserve anything without some regulation? Or maybe Archer can answer because he's the resident conservative.
You sound like a Democrat.
Well, here's the deal.
You're sounding like
Here's the deal. When it
I'm
comes,
not going to say the word
listen.
because I love my best
If
friend.
I am to have an etiquette school for children, for girls, okay, and I am not under any regulation. That's not going to affect the conservatism because my curriculum is going to be just based on that. And if there is some feminist infiltrating my business trying to blue pill my students, then I'm going to bounce that bitch out.
People actually
That's
get
affecting
blue pilled
your
though.
That's affecting your business in that scenario. I
Uh,
completely agree with that.
Well,
Look
it's
at Colin
not
Kaepernick.
necessarily affecting my business. She's
could.
basically
It could.
going against my curriculum.
Look at Colin Kaepernick though. We're not sure if it affected the business, but we know that some people were upset and some people weren't. I haven't seen any data on that, but he lost a job. One, because he's a shit quarterback, and two, because he pursued the woke route, and it's actually panning out much better for him than it was, being a quarterback. But
More
should
students
they be
with
able
talents.
to not sign? What about not re-signing someone? I completely think that's fine. If it affects your business, that's probably fine too. But the thing is, like, how much? Where's the line? What's the threshold for affecting your business? If they're talking shit online on Twitter and they have 30 followers, but then one person finds that and puts it on Yelp, and that affects your business, or it could affect your business. I don't know.
That's the good argument I've been wanting to hear because again, like I said before, hey, if your political ideology hurts the business, that's different than you having that private ideology to yourself, or if people know about it. But like you said, the counter argument is, well, like look at this, like they're coming after conservatives, and if you have a certain belief, they could report you, and it might be only 10 people, but now your employer does have some justification if it was not, if it could hurt the business, right? That was the standard. So this is a difficult question.
Why
Yeah,
does
this is
that
the-
matter? Why
don't-
are you going to say when I make the distinction between a conscious choice versus something you're born with? Why is that pushed off to the side as not making sense? When okay, what the fuck does it matter if it hurts the business or not? What the fuck does it matter if it hurts the business or not?
The business obviously make a decision in their best interests. I think that's a principle, an abstract principle I hold.
Wait,
I
BJ,
think
wait,
it's
oh my
common
God.
in capitalism.
Revelation.
Goddamn business is to do business if it affects the business. This is what BJ and I, Katz, this would be saying since the fucking first moment of this. If it affects the business,
I got this. Wait, let me give you the far left argument. Hold on.
Because you're a self-hating white cock liberal.
Jupiter, check this out though. What if? So I'm sorry, Katz, I see your hand, but I got to say this. So what if something
sorry,
does
Katz,
affect
I
your
didn't even
business
see
and
it.
it's like completely racist? Let's say you hired a bunch of black people at your place of business to be the servers, and your clientele happens to be a bunch of racist Klansmen, and they decide I'm not eating at this restaurant anymore. That affects your business. But what's affecting your business is it the bad opinions of the
And
patrons, or is it the race
that's-
of these servers?
That's a
Here's the
good
thing,
counter
though.
argument.
That's an incredible that's actually a perfect counter argument. It's also the same thing with the argument for abortion. It's, well, what about rape victims? What about incest? It's
Is
like
it
Well,
that.
what's the
That
answer?
is- that's the way I'm giving it.
He's gonna fill
I'm not-
up.
What is it?
The answer is that's 1% of the cases. I'm not going to
It's
change
got
my
to be
mind.
less than that.
Yeah.
Am
thank
I
you. Yeah.
am I
Wait,
allowed
wait,
am I allowed as an
Hey,
employer to preemptively fire someone?
Corny
But it
joker and
exists.
weird. Can I finish my thing, please? If your clientele are all Klansmen and you have black wait staff, I'm sorry, I totally give the business owner full rights. If you're a black supremacist and all your wait staff are white people, that man has every opportunity to do business the way he wants it to.
That's the argument I was literally making. That's the.
But you're punishing
business
people who
will
aren't at
obviously-
fault.
Wait, what the fuck?
You're punishing people who aren't at fault. This is the exact problem with like reparations. Do white people who didn't own slaves have to pay?
I
This is the
agree.
exact thing.
I
So,
agree.
you
There's
just
gray
disagree with
area
it.
there.
So
No,
why
no,
would you
you're
want to
right
punish the
You're
people
right there.
who aren't at fault?
You are right there. I'll give you that. There is
It's,
gray
it's
area.
an, yeah.
After Jupiter,
you that.
then I want
That was
cats.
the way.
Cat's got to talk. Cat's had his.
That's
Yeah.
the way. That's the point I was literally arguing for. Is that it's you as the business owner have the right to fire someone. You don't like the state. The state does not have that ability to, like, if I'm a business owner and I know a bunch of my fucking employees are Klansmen, I should have the right to fire those people based off the fact that they're a fucking Klansman.
Is it affecting your business?
Okay,
Am I-
cats.
if I preemptively fire those people because I know it would affect my business if it was
We got the example. We got the example all reversed. Like I thought the example was that you had black wait staff and your customers were white supremacists because
Yes.
we agreed before. Like if your political ideology is hurting your business, then we all sound on the same page. When it comes to race, I agree that is a harder issue, and I think that maybe we can have different standards. In the law, we have different standards for sex and gender than we do for race. So that could be something that we could talk about. But the counter argument, again, if it hurts your business because of political ideology, that's a whole different story. Sorry,
If
Cass.
raptors invaded my
All right.
business, if Tyrannosaurus Rexes invaded my business, I'm not going to make my political. I'm done with that. I'm done being put in these weird boxes of situations that never.
Okay,
fucking
cats.
exist.
But innocent people get hurt. That's
Cats,
the problem.
cats. Go ahead, cats.
Someone actually put hashtag free cats in the chat. That's precious. Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I appreciate that. I'll say this. I
Free gay
feel like
cats.
businesses, free gay cats, businesses have to have a certain amount of protection and pressure, neutrality. In the same way that, like, if a business could experience negative social pressure for having the wrong race of employees, and that would be unacceptable, we have to make sure that businesses cannot give in to the wrong kinds of social pressure. A business can't just do what's easy, even if it's convenient. A business should have to as much be confined and protected by the same standard. The same standard that says you can't just fire someone because they're conservative should also stand as the protection that says, you shouldn't fire someone because they're conservative. This idea that we have in the culture right now that businesses have to fire people because they're not fashionable, because they don't believe in whatever the current hashtag is what's driving us crazy. This idea that, like, if a business hires someone, or not even hires, that they employ someone who's been there forever, who 10 years ago said something that's no longer currently fashionable, it's driving us crazy. We have to separate people from the businesses that they work from, and the businesses from the people who work from them. It's one thing for someone to work at a company that at one point said something, as opposed to someone who works at a business who's wearing a Black Lives Matter armband every day. Right now, we're firing people because some troll will go through their Twitter history or their Instagram history and look for something that they said 5 years ago that was objectionable. And that is not okay. Businesses shouldn't be able to fire people because someone that works for them did something 5 years ago that 200 people are upset about now. By preventing them from firing them because of a current outrage mob to appease the current outrage mob, we're saying businesses have to do what YouTube used to do, which is that, okay, you know what? It wasn't objectionable at the time, and we're not going to do it because it's illegal. Shut up. That's what I wanted to say.
Fuck yeah.
People really listen to cats. No one.
Well, he doesn't
Wow.
get a chance to talk because y'all
Pretty
yell
silent.
over him. Him and Rafiq.
Sorry.
That
man.
was perfect.
I'm quiet.
Max.
I'm sorry.
Hashtag we love cats.
Okay. So
We love
Mm.
hold on, I gotta say that.
Take a shot.
Archer, don't. I want you to know that if you feel that we are in any way jumping on you,
I don't hate Archer.
huh?
I don't hate Archer.
No, I'm kidding.
I'll just be frank. Like I dislike where you guys go with these arguments. Like, because I can I agree with everything you're saying. Like, I think I don't want to see someone get fired after 5 years. But my argument is coming from a contract. It's coming from contracts, a position of what types of contracts we come into this. Like, this isn't a conservative fucking position.
There's no
We're going in
contract you have.
circles.
No, wait. There's no contract you have with another person that you can't discriminate them except for their race, except for federal legislation, right? That's not in any sort of contract outside of legislation. You're saying, oh, they're bored with it. That's not in the contract.
Specifically when it comes down to political ideologies, I, as an employer, should have the right to terminate that contract.
No, you think that. Listen, when it comes to many areas of the law, we have something called strict scrutiny, intermediate scrutiny, rational basis, different ways of looking at, let's say, can you write a law to discriminate based on race? That's understood under strict scrutiny. Very strict. It has to be extremely necessary in order to do so. When it comes to gender, we have intermediate scrutiny, where it's like, yeah, you might be able to discriminate based on gender in a law, like for if it had a good reason for it, such as women can't be in combat roles because they're not physically strong enough. Let's make up an example there, right? There are different standards. So when I'm saying that we should have some sort of protections for political ideology, that doesn't have to be the same standards as is race. I'm asking you to make the distinction, but if we do what's called a rational basis standard, which is common in the law, then you have to say, okay, you need some sort of rational reason to fire them outside of political ideology. And that could very easily be it's hurting your business. Now, that doesn't work under strict scrutiny because if you want to fire a black person based on their race, then just saying it's going to help your business isn't going to be good enough to pass that standard. But you should be able to apply different standards. You already have this under the law. And so what I'm trying to say is like my sort of thinking, or most of people's thinking is, okay, we look at what's good for society and we base our principles based on that. You're taking this abstract principle, being extremely absolute about it, going, nope, it's about what you're born with, and that's it. There's no degrees of thinking whatsoever on it. And that's not the right thinking there. There are degrees in the law, and there are degrees on how we should handle things.
Okay, so again, do you think an employer do you think that an employer should not be able to fire an employee based off of political positions they take?
I think that you should only be able to fire them if you have a really good reason for it. That is the standard that for under rational basis scrutiny.
So
have a reason for it.
Let's say it's mom and pop's business, and this person is an anarcho-communist, and you find out this person's anarcho-communist, and you take a strong stance against that. Do you want to give capital?
This is going in.
Do you want to give?
Wait. Let him answer. Go ahead, BJ.
I don't think you should.
Boring at this.
No,
I
wait.
don't think you
Go
should be able to
ahead.
fire them based on political ideology alone. I don't think you should be able to fire them based on political ideology alone because you need a reason that affects your business is the easiest reason. That's a different story.
So if I take the stance, I'm not going to give capital to communists If I take that stance, I'm binded in that fucking agreement. I'm binded in that contract.
Well, then it's going to hurt the business, and yeah, you should be able to fire them.
Okay,
if you're not
Jupiter,
taking
then
the
yes.
cashier.
No. I'm taking
listening.
the stance that I'm against. And let's say he's closeted, or he or she or they, whatever. Okay,
does it affect the business?
It's not out. It's not going to affect the business. It's not going to affect the business at all.
No. I answer no.
So I'm not allowed to end that contract and give that, and I have to keep giving fucking capital to this person by law.
Yes. I think that the consequences of being able to fire someone for their ideology outweighs the benefits of being able to keep that relationship or be able to fire the relationship based on what you want. In the same way, we agree with the same thing about race. When it comes to race, we should be able to say, okay, even though I hate that, I should have to do it because it's in the best interest of society. I should have to keep this employee and fire them.
Archer, just Archer.
Hold on, wait. I'll just say Archer never gave me a standard. I gave him a bunch of standards to work with. I'm not even saying one is correct. I'm saying there's different ways we could look at it. You're being absolutist and saying, nope, born with it. That's it. Disagree.
Listen, I make it easier for you, Archer. As a right winger, my answer is yes. I should be able to fire you for any fucking reason I want to. I just make it easy.
Case by case basis.
Not even no case by case basis. It's my fucking business. I do what I want.
And that's not a standard. That's not a standard, though. It's so absolute.
Yes, I don't.
You don't say that to Tree. When Tree says it, you don't fucking jump on her. But when I say
no. Because Archer. The reason why is because we're not agreeing. I'm not. The thing about it is that I said I'm a right winger, and I actually believe in the power of association, and that they are conservatives to saying that they have. It does not mean you're conservative that you believe in no government and no regulations. They are less.
On this point, I am in total agreement with you, Tree.
So listen, to answer Archer's question, why are we not attacking Tree? The reason why is that, in my opinion, Tree's position makes more sense than yours does, because she's saying you should discriminate for any. Oh, it's not. No, she said you should be able to discriminate for hold on, Jupiter, 1 second. Exactly. She said you discriminate for any reason, and I'm the one asking you, what's the distinction between those categories? She says there is no distinction. I agree with that. But she listen.
That's a pretty
Archer, stop. I'm saying you said that Archer, you said you had the same opinion as Tree.
Hold on. Let BJ finish.
The same opinion of he says his same opinion as Tree. Okay, and it's not true. What are you doing? Let me talk.
On that, oh my God, you stop acting like such a
Archer, hold on, Archer, you cannot interrupt him while he's responding to your question. Just let him finish.
All you guys are fucking all this shade you guys are throwing. It's so petty.
Archer literally.
I'm not throwing. I'm not Let me.
Jupiter, hold on. Wait. Let BJ finish.
That's petty shade. You guys don't like. I literally respond to you saying I respectfully disagree with you, and they go, "Oh, conservative." Fucking
hold on. Wait.
God, you guys are no different than fucking libs.
Archer, you keep accusing us of doing things that you are the only person doing. That's what confuses me. Let me answer directly what you're talking about. You said you have the same opinions as Tree. That is not true, because she says there's no difference between the categories and she would discriminate against anybody. You say
then I said I
let me talk, man. You said there is a difference, and I'm saying what is the standard, and that's what we've been talking about. And you said before that I have.
Go ahead, BJ. Do your thing.
I've been engaging with you this whole. I've been engaging with you the whole time.
Can I please? Do I get it?
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Yes, Jupiter. Here's the deal. Archer, let BJ, if you, what you do, and I caught you this time, I defend you when they interrupt you. But when BJ's about to make that point, you jump right on them. Stop that. No. I have your, and you did it to me, and you doing it to me. Hold on. When they were jumping on you,
your voice
your voice did go a little lower. I don't know. Are you on a voice change or something? Here's the deal. It doesn't matter. Here's the deal, Archer. When they were jumping, hold on, Jupiter. When they were jumping on you, I stopped that. And I need you, and I'm going to be consistent. I want you to stop doing that with BJ. Let him finish saying what he got to say. Then I'm gonna let you say what you got to say. Then Jupiter say, I'm sorry, Cats, because Cats been having his hand up for the longest. Then Jupiter. All right, let BJ say everything he got to say without you jumping down his throat. Go ahead, BJ.
I mean, I think I pretty much finished, but my point was that you and Tree disagree. I agree with her position more that there is, we both believe that the difference isn't really important between those categories, but she thinks that means you should be able to discriminate against everybody. And I say more on the lines of nobody. Not exactly, because again, I think that there should be some sort of degree that we can apply, like straight to media and rational basis. And I've been asking you for the standard for all this time, and you keep saying what you were born with. And you're being very absolutist about the fact that you should be able to discriminate against political ideology in any circumstance. That's the point. It's just a degree of difference when it comes to the standards.
Okay, Archer and then Cats.
When I give you, how many times do I have to give you my standard?
Archer again.
When I say immute, when
Stop interrupting him. Go ahead, Archer.
All right, I'm just gonna. I respectfully disagree with you all. There you go.
I have agreed with.
I'm not going to keep engaging with this type of shit. Like, it's like, what's the point of this? What is the point of it?
Okay, okay. Cats and then Jupiter and then Trip.
Archer. So I'm a fellow Californian. I live like 40 miles from you, and I'm asking this completely authentically, not attacking you.
You haven't pissed me off yet.
Take the Barry White setting off the goddamn microphone.
Archer,
what is?
I get.
Yeah, you got a real deep voice right now.
For some reason, has dropped 3
Homeboy's
octaves,
huffing
but I don't know what it
sulfur
is.
hexafluoride
I love that.
You got the James Earl Jones filter on.
Go ahead, Cats.
Hello, my name
Great.
is Archer. I am totally not a completely
Here's
low
my-
key. Sorry. Please.
Here's my
Savage.
question for you. Here's my question for you, Archer. What are you arguing for? Because I feel like I don't think we're all trying to attack you, but like your position at this point is rather ill-defined. What are you arguing for? My question to you, and I'll give you the remainder of my time.
Make it
What
quick,
are
because
you
make it quick.
arguing?
Hold on. Make it quick because I'm not even gonna do 2 minute closing. We're gonna end in 6 minutes. So go ahead.
My
say what you gotta say.
argument.
Stop. Go ahead and let him answer. Go ahead, Archer.
Jesus Christ, Jupiter, dude, like.
Go, Archer. Go ahead.
Chill. Oh my
No,
god.
Jupiter, let him talk. Go ahead, Archer.
Chill,
That's
chill,
weird.
dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, but let him talk.
My argument is that the state should not intervene and act as a barrier between an employer ending the contract between an employee when the employer has a stance against the political ideology of the employee.
Okay.
Now, may I?
I just want to know what you actually said.
Go ahead, Jupiter.
Wait. So they said Coca-Cola said be less white, and so Archer, as a good conservative, put on the Barry White filter on his microphone. Hello, everyone.
You do sound.
Hold on.
You sound like James Earl Jones. Like I don't know what it is, but something.
You can't leave it 11. Let's do our closing,
All
please.
right, now wait. All right, hold on.
Are we doing hypotheticals?
All right, wait.
No, because we went over, and I'm gonna end it on time. I'm so sorry, Trip. I'm sorry, Trip. See, here's
my time. I just want 1 second.
Go ahead, Jupiter, and then I'm gonna finish it up.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
use my entire time devoted to Jasmine Touche, who rocked this. The first thing sound when Archer turned his microphone to Barry White. Homeboy sounds like that one guy still in witness protection.
What? What?
Wait, is this better?
No, he still don't sound like you.
I feel like I am.
His super male vitality just kicks in.
Yeah.
Is it still fucked? Is it
There you
still
go.
good?
There you go. That's better.
Okay, now it's good.
Yeah, now it's
Like
better.
a
I was about to be like, what's up, bud?
He sounds like a California.
Okay. Listen.
Sounds like a Californian trans woman with bad connection. I'm gonna dedicate.
Archie,
Okay, stop.
could.
Okay,
It's okay.
listen.
I don't make fun of people with autism. So
Hold on. Here's the deal. Because we about to end.
saying
We about
you
to
have
end. We about to end at the top of the hour. Okay. Listen. Let me just say. I just noticed something. We are all family here, but there's some unresolved issues. And Archer feels slighted. He feels ganged upon. And so that we're not going to rectify it here, but that will have to be addressed in the future, because I don't want anyone to feel like they're being unfairly attacked. So one of the things we will talk about, this is going to be something we have to talk about, because I see it. Archer thinks you all are being against him and everything like that, and he feels isolated and this, that, and the other. So we'll talk about that next. We'll have it's like a meeting. We'll all talk about that together. I thought I tried to explain it this time, the difference between my point of view in reference to the mass and the hiring versus everybody else. But I will say this, and then we'll have everybody do a 2-minute ending, and then we're going to stop the show. But I will say this. I think we all have different political stances, but like I said, and you know this, Archer, I said I am more on the right than everybody on this panel, so my views are going to be way more extreme than theirs. However, it still does not mean that conservatism does not have government. It just doesn't have a lot of government. Like liberals want the government to be the God. Liberals want government to tell us everything to do, what to wear, what to eat, what to wear, where to live, how much money we can make. They want the government to be our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and our parents. But the conservatives do not want that. They want very, very little of that as possible. Okay. So with that being said, we'll all address this, because maybe this is something we have to talk about, is what is conservatism and what do conservatism believe in. Okay. So because Archer, you part of the family, and I don't want you to feel alienated. Okay. It's very important that if you are upset about the way we treated you in the past, then that has to be addressed. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna have everybody do a 2-minute outro, and then if you want to plug in your social media, feel free to do that. Let's start off with Jupiter.
Right. Hi. How are you doing? By the way, Archer, especially with Grimace not being here, I respect it, and I get that it's not fair that it's like a lot of us on one, and I'm not hating on you. It's all for the war games, and it's all respect. Love you. Tree, love you for having me on. The chat, everyone here. I am Jupiter. You can find me at Jupiter_. I am probably dying from alcohol poisoning after this weekend, and this was a pleasure. And I do a podcast with my heterosexual life mate, who happens to be a homosexual. He's up there in the top right corner for me. Our cat's gay. And love yins. Thanks a lot.
All right. Next is Cats.
In what I hope is a theme. So yeah, I'm Arcat's gay, and I do a podcast that a few people watch for reasons that I have yet to discern with Jupiter. I don't know why people watch us, but maybe it's because it's enjoyable, I hope. Archer, I don't hate you. I've never hated you. I respect the fact that you're trying to not be woke in San Francisco, because you're basically living in liberal, and that's really hard. I disagree with you about a lot of issues, but please don't think that means that I don't respect you as a person. So yeah, you're fine. You and I are cool, but I know that you live in hostile territory. Otherwise, this has been great. I hope to do it again, and find me on Minds, Twitter, and the once in 3 years that I do a YouTube video.
I like to think that every time Cats cuts out, it's because he says a racial or offensive slur.
Is it something
It's
about
not.
China virus? Probably.
All right,
not.
next we have BJ, Big Bad Bear Jew. Go ahead.
So to address the situation with Archer, I don't think hopefully I didn't ever called you liberal now or last time. I think that you are a public conservative, maybe more conservative than me. And that's what's interesting about these discussions is that I used to be more, I think, on the side of conservatism that's very principled. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily. I'm saying that, well, ever since Trump in 2016, there's been a kind of new breed of Republican who's wanted to look, there's always principle versus utility. How effective and how helpful is something, right? And a lot of times Republicans have stood their ground on principle, even when it hurt them in their life, in practical terms. And so a lot of people like myself have been like, well, I want to do more of what the liberals are doing in terms of going after utility instead of being so bound to principle. And there should be some sort of balance between principle and utility. And I think that that's something that's interesting to try to find here. And that's what we're trying to work out. So again, it's not necessarily a whole me saying you're, I mean, I might have joked about last time. I really don't think I did. Me attacking you for being liberal. I think there's two different branches of conservative that are interesting to have the debate between. And, you know, sorry for being disrespectful at any times. Obviously, these debates get heated and there's no grimace to let our emotions out onto. So I guess we need to, we're trying to put it on someone else. So we come here ready to fight, and the first 2 hours went so nicely, and then we just started getting anxious, and we needed to fight somebody.
We love you, Art.
But these debates are good.
If you have the shit again without Grevis, I'm gonna be so fucking
Hey,
pissed.
I did not know
I'd
he
rather
couldn't
not
make
have
it until the
discussions
week I gave him the invitation. Go ahead, BJ. Sorry.
I don't think that people on the left are a lot of times the discussions we have do kind of go around circles and are useless. And I think their beliefs are just so stupid. I think that beliefs amongst the right, which is Shree's stance before she kept saying conservative, is just actually more libertarian. The stance we should be able to fire someone based on anything. And I think that her stance on that versus your stance versus my stance are three interesting things to talk about. And those are the things that are worth debating. And so I don't mean to try to attack. I think that those are the discussions that we need to be having.
Okay, I'm sorry, Archer. Go ahead.
Okay, listen, like, I don't like. I'm not leaving this. I mean, okay, like I felt more irritated than just like done dirty. But like, yeah, like it's I like you guys. I like coming on here. I don't think I hate anyone on here. There's no hate coming from my side. But yeah, it's just more okay. Don't don't mistake my my anger, or don't mistake my anger for hate, because I don't.
But you were frustrated. That was genuine frustration, wasn't it?
I was frustrated. Yeah, frustration.
Yeah, I picked up on it.
Irritation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
yeah, that's fair. Absolutely fair.
And without fucking Gremis here to fucking to divert the bukkake that straight gun fucking comes on the one fucking
Don't
person.
dishonor bukkake. Bukkake's awesome.
You guys better fucking respect Gremis way the fuck more.
He's smarter than you guys give him.
Jesus.
Hear about Twitch, Archer CA. Can join me there. We have fun.
All right,
Where can we
Rafiq.
find you?
He already
Wait,
said it.
Archer, plug your shit.
He did.
Oh,
Go ahead, Rafiq.
Pay attention, bitch.
well, I couldn't fucking hear it. It was all mumble
I was
jumble.
like-
Sound like a bunch of gobbledygook.
Yeah, I was laughing at some of those comments they were making on Archer's microphone. So when they said, I was just laughing at that. And yeah, Archer is a libertarian. I guess, like, you know, there's like conservatism, there's conservative, and there's these different things of libertarian here, like there's left-leaning libertarianism and anarcho-libertarianism and the new libertarianism that failed in the Free State Project in New Hampshire. So I guess that could be discussions for another time. So
Yeah, we'll have it next month,
you can find
definitely.
me on Twitter on Instagram. Okay.
The-
So yeah, I think these are like little discussions that need to be had, especially with this new crop of conservatives, Republicans, and libertarian grifters. So
The Trump people.
well, the Trump people, yes, all of that. So yeah, well, yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Minds, and Gab if anybody's on there. more of a trolling account, but you know, I'm on it.
All right,
Love your
Felix.
speak.
I remember saying, "Man, it's gonna be so chill today." Tree, I said this. You need a chill podcast sometimes. Well, I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. And I normally I would be wrong with I get mad with being proven wrong, but you know what? At the end of the day, you get so passionate about stuff because you really believe in it. So I feel like that's the takeaway we should take away from this, is that we are really passionate about what we say. And I don't think I should plug my social media because I'm probably going to be dead from the Chinese virus that's currently infecting everyone in my house. So
You're already
for
dead.
yeah, for my funeral, I really want cats to put on Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody as they lower my coffin into the ground.
Hell yeah.
All
Thank you.
right.
Y'all should get married.
Trip, go ahead. You got it out. You get the final word, and then we'll go ahead and
Okay,
end it.
so thank you. I want to bring it back to the first thing that we started off at, which was the inherent bias trainings and Coca-Cola's Be Less White type of thing. I think it's interesting that it's harder for, well, obviously this is coming from the left, and it's harder for people who are on the left to stand up and say this is wrong, because they'll be ostracized by the people that they care about and who care about them, presumably. But like I said at the beginning, I've seen inherent bias trainings go wrong. I've sat out of inherent bias trainings. My brother, who's adopted, he's a minority as well, but me and him, we went to the director of our program where we worked, and we said, we don't want to do this because if we go to the training, it's, you know, basically us agreeing that we are inherently biased and we don't want to compromise our values. And we suffered because of that. During the training,
Sorry.
another person who is also a minority, by the way, and a woman of color, decided she was going to come. By the way, they forced us to go. We didn't have to participate. I talked to the person beforehand. She was very nice. Her name was Jennifer. We talked. And I was like, hey, my brother and I were just going to watch. Is that cool? And she's like, yeah, totally. She was like really chill, actually. She did her training. It was super woke and weird. And halfway through, a friend of mine, a woman of color, decided she was going to sit out too. And she came over and she was like, this is bullshit. I can't do this. I can't believe they brought this to the place that we love, the place that we work. And we were ostracized. All three of us were ostracized later in the workplace for it, but nobody as much as me. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it's hard for liberals to stand up to this, especially white liberals. And when you take into account what Jupiter and Bearju mentioned earlier about in-group, out-group bias, it makes a lot of sense. And I think I don't have the answer, but we need to do something about it.
All right,
I
guys.
think standing up is a good way.
All
It's
right.
hard, though.
So thank you guys so much for coming.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Oh, by the way, I want to plug one thing.
Go ahead.
Archer gave me this in 2016 when I was a Bernie voter. Okay, and I ended up voting for Jill Stein. Archer gave me this for my birthday. It says, "I have serious balls." It's Donald Trump. I've kept this the whole time. He got me Hillary toilet paper and Donald Trump shot glass. I use this all the time. Obviously, regulation. Cheers.
All right. Okay. Well, guys, thank you.
Surprised
Thank
you
you
still have
so
that.
much for coming. I'm gonna let you guys go. It's just like 11 minutes past the hour, but it's not that bad. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you next month. You guys rock so much. So wave to everybody goodbye, and I'll
Bye.
see you
Thanks,
guys
Tree,
on
you're
social
amazing.
media, and definitely see you next month. Okay.
Love you.
Bye. Love ya.
Yeah.
Bye.
I love everyone except the Chinese.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay, guys. Listen, I will be back online at the top of the hour at midnight. I have a interview with someone from Twitch. We're going to be talking about the sexual harassment and pimp mentality of a certain person on there. And so anyway, But if you guys want to come, you don't have to come. This was at a spur of the moment, but I have to get off here in a minute. And that's going to be the top of the hour at midnight. So if you guys want to come into a one-on-one interview that somebody's having with me on an incident that I have experienced on Twitch that's now seemed to be getting out of hand, but guess what? Nothing's going to be done about this person. You can tune in another 45 minutes at the top of the hour. Thank you so much. And I had 2 people make a donation, and I'm so sorry. I want to thank those who did make the donation. Thank you so much. I don't get a chance to read those, but nevertheless, thank you guys so much for coming by. And I will see you either, if you are going to bed, I'll see you tomorrow at 6:00 p.m. for my news show. And everybody else who's sticking around, I'll see you tonight at midnight in 45 minutes. Mwah. Thank you so much for coming by and checking out all the guys. And we will see you guys. I'll see you in 45 minutes. Later, taters.